Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Ariel Helwani Show!
Back in your life on this Tuesday, January 21st, 2025. Hello again, everyone. I sure hope you're doing well on this lovely, lovely, lovely Tuesday afternoon. Oh, it is balmy outside. It's a magical, I think, 10 degrees Fahrenheit, which is, I think, negative 46 Celsius. Is that what it is?
Beep.
Yeah, it's lovely. You know, I've often said the joke's on us. As much as I love New York, why anyone would choose to live in this climate from essentially like November to March is beyond me. The joke's on us. And everyone who is, you know, down south, west, Australia right now, those types of places. Basically, I've narrowed it down to 3 spots: the West Coast, down south, or Australia. If you're living in those places, you're doing it right. Maybe also Brazil. I think Brazil is nice this time of year, I think. Maybe Colombia as well. In any event, it's a great day to be alive. There's a lot to discuss. We had a fantastic show yesterday. UFC 311 has now come and gone. No UFC this weekend, by the way, but we do have the very first PFL Dubai Champion Series event. I think Paul Hughes, Usman Nurmagomedov for some kind of belt. Is it the PFL belt? Is it the Bellator belt? We don't know. We'll never know. Also, GFL Draft this Friday as well, and we've got some information on that coming up later in the week as well. So much to be excited about, much to be thankful for, much to be grateful for. If you missed anything on yesterday's program, whether it was Armin Sarukian's first interview or Merab Dvalishvili's first interview or Yuri Prochaska's first interview or Renato Moicano's first interview, or perhaps you wanted Josh Barnett in studio, who knows, whatever floats your boat, it's all up there on the feed. Give us a thumbs up in the chat. Give us a thumbs up on the little thingy. Hit the bell. Subscribe on Spotify, Apple, follow, all those things and more. Your support means the world. Now, as far as today's program is concerned, 3 massive names joining us on this beautiful Tuesday. And you know, on Tuesdays, we like to play 2 at 5 o'clock. We'll do the show on the DAZN channel with Adeola Depot. Much to discuss there on that program, by the way. The much talked about Conor Benn is going to be joining us. He, of course, what we're told, signed, sealed, and delivered April. Sounds like maybe April 26th, Tottenham Hotspur. Some good news coming to that stadium because there hasn't been a lot of good news this season. Commiserations on Air Jordan, big Spurs guy. But I'm sorry, you look at the table, they're all, I mean, what are they, like 17th at this point? What is it, 16th, 15th at best? It's crazy.
Everyone stop chatting shit.
No, Darren's an Everton guy, and they're doing even worse. So, you know, it's, actually, is Darren an Everton guy or a Liverpool guy? He might be a Liverpool guy. Yeah, Everton did beat the Spurs.
Definitely a Liverpool guy.
Okay, so. Yeah. I get mixed up with all those Scousers. He's a Liverpool guy. Molly's Everton. Patty's Liverpool. Okay, now we got it. Thank you for that, PT. Anyway, back into the show. We will be joined by Aljamain Sterling. Aljamain Sterling's going to talk about Merab's win, the state of the 135-pound division, state of 145. Hey, sign me up for Aljo versus Pitbull. How about that? And I have some thoughts on the Pitbull situation as well. I feel after Dana White's comments this weekend that they I don't want to say misplayed their hand, but everything's a negotiation. Everything is a game. Everything's chess. Everything's and I felt like they were too open with their feelings. And you see Dana White's response to the Pitbull question at the presser on Saturday is like, yeah, we'll see. You can't tell the girl at the bar that you're all in, you'll do anything, and you even take a pay cut to get her phone number. You can't do that. You have to play hard to get. I told him that. Anyway, prior to that, we'll be joined by Darren Till. He had a big win this weekend over Anthony Taylor, Misfits. Where does he go from here? Is he now a crossover boxer? Is he everything that he always said he wouldn't be? We'll talk to Darren, aforementioned. Anthony Smith going to join us at 1:30 to talk about this past weekend, UFC 311. He was working the The ESPN desk also has a new podcast, On Paper with Anthony Smith. Shout out to Anthony. Lionheart, making things happen. Also, what's the state of his career? Yeah, there's the trio right there. Quite the trio, quite the lineup. Just a regular Tuesday here on the program. You heard from Pizzi there. I want to bring in Pizzi. I want to bring in the boys in the back. Off the jump, as they say, because yesterday I felt like we had so many guest guys. We had so much to get to. We went well over the 5 o'clock hour. Frank already put in for overtime.
Actually, I just left. The rest was automated.
So I feel like we didn't get to a lot of the news and notes, the nuggets, if you will. And this is the beauty of doing a show every day. You could save some stuff for Tuesday. In the past, we would go to like 7:30 because we had to get it all in on a Monday. Don't have to do that anymore. And so I wanted to talk off the bat about this return to London. UFC, March 22nd, O2 Arena. They're back. We know what the headliner is. Leon Edwards, Jack Della Maddalena. This has been discussed. It has been rumored for quite some time. No real surprise there. Love the fight. Amazing fight. Big fight for both guys. Tough fight for our good friend Tim Simpson. Remember, he was on the program back, when was it, last year, saying, I only want one guy per weight class. And the one weight class that he had two guys in was 170, and now they're fighting each other.
Well, you could look at it that way, or he wins either way. You don't want your guy.
He didn't want this.
Loses either way, also though.
He loses. He loses either way, but
it's
he also
supremely
wins
awkward.
either way. Are you a glass half empty or glass half full? But yes,
it's tough. I was talking to another great manager, Lloyd Pearson, today. He's got Eddie Alvarez and Jeremy Stevens in the main event of BKFC. It's just awkward. It's awkward, but it's a testament to the stable.
I was just about to say, it's a good problem to have to a certain degree because you've got guys who are on top of the bill,
Okay, so this is the lineup. They announced it. There was so much news on Friday between Weidman's retirement, obviously everything that happened with the 311 main event. They dropped this in the middle of the day as well. Leon Edwards, Jack Della Maddalena, Jan Blachowicz versus Carlos Alberg, big fight at 205. Molly McCann against Estela Nunes. It always seems like Molly McCann is fighting Brazilians. Or maybe that's just me. Nathaniel Wood against Morgan Charrière. Jai Herbert against Chris Padilla. Nice one. And then the rest of the card is as follows. Alonzo Menafield against Umar Sy. Marcin Tybura against Mick Parkin. Loner Kavanaugh against Felipe Dos Santos. Christian Leroy Duncan against Andre Puliev. Shauna Bannon against Pooja Tomar. Nathan Fletcher against Callan Loughran. Did I get that right? Pizzi, Callan. Golly, they're tough. Cahill, Callan. Pizzi, you've got your finger on the pulse. This is your domain. This is your world right here. Rate the card for us.
I actually quite like it. I know there's been a lot of criticism put out there about this card, but it's funny that for so long, the UK fans were like, don't give us a London card. Let's do something different. They went to Manchester, did it in the middle of the night, and suddenly it's like, you know what? Those London cards, they weren't so bad, actually. Maybe we should do one of them again. People forget that, when I started going to these cards, there wasn't a Leon Edwards. There wasn't a guy like that to put on the top of the card. Like, I think me and you, Ariel, were sat beside each other for one of the many Jimmy Manoa fights that were in the O2 for many years. So to have a fight at the standard of Leon Edwards v. Jack Della Maddalena at the top of that card is absolutely outrageous. Jan Blachowicz is a guy who was given Pereira the best fight he's had at 205 in the UFC. He took him the distance. Pereira won a split decision. And I really like this kind of old guard versus the young lion and Carlos Alberg. Also, Mick Parkin, one of the Team BFG guys, I know they love when I call him that, against Marcin Tybura, a guy who was previously fought Tom Aspinall. That's a real litmus test for Mick Parkin. Towards the back of the card, I know there's a lot of fights to get through. I won't go through every one of them. But this Nathan Fletcher and Callan Loughran fight, that's going to be a really bad blood kind of fight. We're going to hear a lot about that in the lead up to it. It's a curtain jerker. Both of these guys represent different teams.
Why the bad blood? Give us the backstory.
Well, it's the teams in Liverpool. One was Kelvin, Till's former team. Well, used to be with Kelvin, And now Nathan Fletcher obviously is next gen. He's with Paddy DeBaddy and Molly McCann and Luke Riley and all those guys. So there's always been tension between those two gyms, and pitting them against each other is going to be fantastic, I think. Also, Umar Sy, a guy who we heard so much about in the lead up to his debut, I believe it was. That's an interesting fight there. I'm looking to see this guy. I want to see him more. I want to see what he can do, and I think Alonzo Mannenfield would be a good test for him. So I think it's a strong card. You know, you're coming off the big pay-per-view 304, which had all the stars, everything we could have asked for in terms of a card. It's just the time it happened that was the bad thing about that one. So I think this is a return to form. This is what UFC London's usually are in March. So I think it's a very, very good main event and a very solid card.
I'm happy to see Leon back. I like the opportunity for JDM as well. There were two big names that I was expecting to see on this card. One was Paddy, and I don't think Paddy not being on there is a huge deal, only in the sense that he is a top draw, and top draws are on pay-per-view. And so Paddy, to me, is a headliner for a UFC London. Co-headline would be great, but I just don't see it happening in this day and age because he's so popular. I thought Oban Elliott would get on this card. There was some talk of Oban fighting in Australia, I know that, and I see him pushing for the Jorge Masvidal fight in April, which would be gigantic for him. But I think it would have been nice, given how his star has risen over the past year, to have him fight so close to home. Those were the two big omissions. Am I missing any?
I mean, we obviously would have loved seeing Arnold Allen and the guys on there, but I mean, just to the point you made about Oban Elliott, the Welsh fans bring so much colour to these events, and they have for a long time. That right back to Jack Marshman, Brett Johns. You know, we obviously saw it with Jack Shore. Oban Elliott is kind of, the torch is being passed, and he is a guy that's causing a big stir in Wales. And I really love when those fans are there. They're so much fun. They're great sports. Everyone loves interacting with the Welsh. So I would have liked to see that too. I think they always bring something a bit different to these events, and hopefully they'll look to do that again, because honestly, they're some of the best fans, the most passionate fans in MMA. And obviously they can't do events in Wales because they don't have an arena big enough, unless they're going to do like an 80,000 seater, right? They have an ice rink. I went to see Jack Shore fight there in Cage Warriors back in the day. I think it's about 5,000. So this is their home UFC event in a many ways. So I would have loved to see that. I think that's a great point you made.
Am I crazy that the people's main event is Nathaniel Wood against Morgan Charrière?
Oh, good.
Right? Isn't there a backstory there too?
Well, I mean, both of these guys were Cage Warriors champions. Of course, Jack Shore would have taken over from where Nathaniel Wood left off in the bantamweight division. Nathaniel Wood was a guy who he really helped them sell a lot of tickets and bring a lot of interest in London. You know, for a long time, Cage Warriors had I almost looked at it like as a territory kind of thing. In London, Nathaniel Wood was that guy, and he's always very well supported there. Morgan Charrière was the featherweight champion of Cage Warriors, so obviously Nathaniel's moved up a weight class there. So it's always good to pit the English against the French. There's storied rivals, and I can imagine there will be a lot of French fans coming over from Paris, etc., to see this fight. Morgan has a huge fan base. I know you spoke to him about it before. He kind of became such a well-known commodity in France because of his appearance in this YouTube video where he's helping an influencer lose weight. He has a massive fan base because of that. So I can imagine that will be a fantastic atmosphere when that fight goes down.
GC, we've got Jack Della, who I know you love, 17 in a row, lost his first 2 pro fights, hasn't lost since, of course, hasn't lost in the UFC as well. He hasn't, he hasn't fought in quite some time before. By the time this fight happens, it will be over 365. Between fights for him. March of 2024, the Gilbert Burns fight, which was very, very entertaining. He's the favorite?
Minus 128 right now.
Wow.
Leon Edwards plus 108.
Does this surprise you?
I thought it would be lined pretty close, so it's not too shocking. Like you said, 17 in a row for Jack Della.
Yeah, but Leon Edwards, man, former champ. First fight since.
First fight since the championship.
Yeah.
Didn't look great in that performance.
Didn't look great. You know, middle of the night fight. You know.
Probably going to be striking as well. Middle of the night fight. It was a middle of the night fight for Bilal too.
By the way, I still maintain that the Americans had the advantage on that night. And yes, you could bring up Tom
Of course
Aspinall.
they did.
Tom Aspinall.
The Americans had the advantage.
I don't know. He didn't look great in that fight, man.
He did not. He
This is
absolutely did not.
It's also going to be a striking affair, in
Yeah.
my opinion. I think this is going to be mostly striking, and that's obviously where Jack Della thrives.
So you like him in this?
It's also where Leon thrives.
I like him in any fight. Yeah, of course, sure. But like people who have found success against Jack Della, Gilbert Burns, Basil Hafez, they went to the grappling to make it close, to make it look like they were going to be able to beat him. If you stand and strike with Jack Della, I mean, yeah, not many people have had much luck in the UFC.
Pete, you don't like this analysis?
Well, I mean, Leon's a very dynamic fighter, I would say. I mean,
All right, let's make a bet
he's-
on it. Let's make a bet on it.
he's
Come on,
taken
man.
down Colby
Come on, man.
Covington. I mean, he's done. I mean, I wouldn't do that kind of thing. I mean, that's disgusting abuse of power for me on this show to start betting on fighters. I could never do that. But I'm quite surprised he is the underdog. I will say, GC. I think Leon Edwards in London.
All right, so I will say this: he didn't open as the underdog. He actually opened at minus 185. Jumped all the way up.
Changed that much?
Yeah, man.
Jesus,
that's kind of
man.
what happens
That's
when
crazy.
when they release these
Okay.
lines.
Do you think they release the lines knowing that it's going to
Yeah,
change?
like it's called a soft opener. There's going to be
Ah.
limits on them and everything. See where people are going to play them. Then they'll adjust the line from there. Because like that's an offshore book that has it at plus 108, but like a more legitimate, legalized book, open Jack Della at minus 128. So
Wow.
it's going to be interesting.
I don't really know what to expect.
Are we going to be there?
If you,
I'm thinking we're going to be there.
listen. 2 months from tomorrow.
If I go, Pete, can I stay at your crib?
I don't have a spare room. Well, I have a room, but I don't have a bed in it.
Also, there's
Sure,
another.
That's bullshit.
four
That's
empty
bullshit.
rooms.
We know
Also,
about your.
You live in a
your
different
10
country.
rooms.
You live in a different country. What are you talking about? That too, right?
It's like a bus trip to London, though, isn't it?
Can you actually take a bus? No, you can't.
One that
No.
you
But I mean,
guys
the plane is like 40 minutes.
Yeah.
one that you guys didn't mention. Hoping for Lerone Murphy on here as well.
Yeah, that's a good call. That's a
great
call.
show.
That's a great.
He would have fit in nicely on that main card.
I mean, now that I think of it, Lerone,
Patty.
Oban,
I was really hoping Oban was.
Arnold.
There's just so many
Arnold,
UK guys, though.
yes. Great job by
There's
Pete.
so many UK guys. This Loner Kavanagh guy is hot shit as well at flyweight. This could be a big one for him. I think he's based in London. Really, really powerful striker for 125. He came through Contender Series. Well, everyone comes through Contender Series,
Right.
but he looks really good. So this could be a kind of a coming out party for him over there as well.
Jack Della number 4, Leon number 1.
You think the winner of this gets the title shot after Shavkat?
This is my question.
If
I
it's
don't know.
Jack Della Maddalena, I'm sure he will.
I don't know. I mean, there's Sean Brady out there who's number 5. They got to do Sean Brady versus Kamaru Usman, in my opinion. It's just like sitting
That'd
right
be
there.
great. That'd
It's
be
either
great.
Brady versus Usman or Brady versus Joaquin Buckley. I don't know what to really make of Usman. You still have Ian Gary in the mix.
Gary's at 7. I mean,
Brady v. Gary is a good fight.
that top 7 is just as thick as it comes.
It feels like it's this tidal wave of fresh blood finally hitting the 170-pound division, right?
Yeah, because like the split at 7, you go to Gilbert Burns, Colby Covington, Jeff Neal, Wonder Boy. Like it
yeah.
literally is just
Yes.
like it's such difference between once you get to 7 and before and after it.
I think if Jack Della does something spectacular like a knockout, I could see that happening.
Yeah.
I could see the
I mean, if you take out the number 1 guy, especially by knockout,
I just don't think they want to put Leon in that spot anymore.
in the
They get
title
that
shot.
feeling. You
Okay,
know?
so that's on the
Like,
flip
li-
side. If Leon does something spectacular, I mean, Leon versus Shavkat, we've never seen. And I think there's a story to be told with Leon versus Bilal. This would be the trilogy. I think he deserves that. If he does, I think you're right. I think they're not running to try to make it happen like they would for other people in this spot. But I do think that if he does something spectacular, if he wins via knockout, it's a great win for him. Emphatic win. He'll come across as a star, right? He's going to be the fan favorite at the O2. I don't think it's the craziest thought. It's just
I think
all
they'll
these
try and
young, new, fresh guys are just
Yeah.
right there, right
Also-
behind.
And
him.
that's the thing.
I also
They're gonna
do
try and do-
wonder if Bilal's keen on it. Like, I get the sense that he wasn't too happy on how long he had to wait, and Leon was the champion. I imagine he might want to give it back to him and make him.
You think he calls those shots?
Nah, that's a good question. I don't know, but I don't know if he'd be rushing to sign a bout agreement with Leon's name on it.
I think they're trying to do Leon Edwards v. Ian Gary. Like,
Oh,
if
I
he
mean, I
wins this
want
fight.
that.
So they're saying if Jack Della wins, he fights. Leon goes and fights Ian Gary.
I could see that too.
No, I think if Leon wins, they'll try and make
Oh,
the fight
okay.
with Inger.
Oh,
Make it like a
regardless.
title
Wow.
eliminator type thing or something, or just a fight.
Yeah,
I can see
yeah,
that
I
as
think-
well.
That's the
Buckley's got to
one.
be in the mix. Brady's in the mix. Usman is still around there. Those are the guys he's contending with right now.
Are you gonna go, Pizzi?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, what's going on here? I feel like
I might start looking at flights.
Yeah.
we're speaking in code here.
No, there's no code.
No, there actually is no code.
There's no code.
I was pulling out my Novak shirt today. I've been, Von Miller
congrats.
yesterday, Novak today. Big one over Carlitos Alcaraz, no big deal. The GOAT. Found my Jack Della shirt in there as well. I got a couple of
You
them.
haven't used that one
was
in
like,
a while. You haven't broken that
Trying
one
to
out.
dust
Yeah.
this thing off since
know.
March of last year. I'd have to
I
catch a flight across the pond. Go
I
see
can
the
tell
bike.
you that Jack
it's
Della
a
is gonna
really
be-
fun event to go to. Like the London ones are really
That's
really
what I'm
fun.
thinking.
I think it's like because it happens every year. It kind of feels well most years. I know it didn't happen last year. It kind of feels like part of the furniture. And when it came back, the first one they did after COVID was Aspinall v Volkov, and that was
That was one of my favorite cards ever. March
it was
2022.
brilliant. To be there for that and to just everyone losing their shit, like the sport was back. It was magic. There've been so many good nights there, and yeah, it's a good event to go to for sure. We'll talk about this more.
Yeah, one of my
I'm serious.
one of my two favorite events that I've ever attended in person, UFC 120 at the O2. Dan Hardy against Carlos Condit. Remember that one?
Yeah,
The double knockout. Almost. They both landed at the same time. And Bisping Silva was there as well.
oh yeah,
Magic. That was incredible. The crowd was so freaking loud for that fight. Remember when we thought that Anderson had knocked him out
yeah.
and he celebrated? The crowd was like, "What the fuck?" And then they restarted the fight. I mean, that crowd was so loud. They were deafening. That was an amazing atmosphere. I
You ever
can't
see
tell you.
Raging Bull when the camera starts spinning around when he's fighting Sugar Ray? That's what it felt like. You were looking everywhere. People were losing their shit everywhere. When in that moment,
Yeah.
nobody knew what happened. It was insane.
Jack Dell is going to join us tomorrow on the program, waking up at some ungodly hour to join us from Perth. Also, Robert Whitaker joining us tomorrow as well. Looking forward to chatting with him. Some nice scenes with him and Israel Adesanya, who, of course, will be in action on the 1st of February. So that card was announced, and we talked about this a little bit yesterday. The March 8th pay-per-view was announced, UFC 313. Alex Pereira, Magomed Ankalaev, Dan Hooker, Justin Gaethje. PT, we didn't get your thoughts on Gaethje and Hooker. You like this
Yeah,
one?
I love that fight. Yeah, I think it's brilliant. I think it's going to be it's one of those, and we kind of jinx it when we say this, but it can't possibly not deliver as a spectacle. Like these two guys are animals. I really, really love that fight. I think it's going to be a great event. And did GC say yesterday that Pereira was the underdog against Ankalaev?
Yes.
Yeah, opened up at plus 175, dropped all the way down to plus 120 now, but still underdog
I
Pereira.
think that's crazy.
It's just like
So-
Merab. I'm just going to have to bet that. Just going to have to.
Yeah, I think everybody has it in their head that, and look, I'm an Ankalaev fan, but they have it in their head that he's
You
this
struggled to say that a little bit. Like
I was
you
gonna
can't
say, you-
quite.
You said that very like
Yeah, like I'm a fan because you're not
Yeah, I
really a
mean-
fan. What are you a fan of?
Like
Like
not a lot, to be honest.
you-
Sleep.
yeah
you lock in and say, "Yeah,
yeah.
MMA's
NFL,
fighting
baby.
tonight."
Oh, sorry. Like, are we talking about MMA here?
Excuse me.
Are we talking like what am I a fan of in MMA?
No, he's saying what of Magomed Ankalaev's recent
Yes.
performances are you like? That's my guy.
Yes.
All of them. All of them.
No, come on.
I like them all. Look, someone needs to do on this show. Like, you know what I mean? Let's be honest. But what I was gonna say is, I think a lot of people think that he is this 205-pound Habib Nurmagomedov. And on the crack last week, Ben Folks make a great point that like it is between like 135 pounds and 170 pounds. That particular style seems to really work well. I don't see him like that at all. He's got a great wrestling skill set, but for the most part, every time I see him fight, he's looking to trade. So that to me, like you look to trade with Alex, it's lights out. So I'm quite surprised that everyone seems to think that this guy's going to completely change his style, be shooting from the first bell. I don't see that happening. I think he's going to trade with him. I think he's going to play that game with Pereira, and I don't think it's going to go well for him.
I don't.
Can I offer you guys a little stat
Sure.
or two? Okay. This is courtesy of UFCstats.com, right? Magomed Ankalaev's last fight against Alexander Rakic, and I know that was the one where he like kind of tried to prove the point that he doesn't need to shoot to win, right? 0 takedown attempts. Before that, Johnny Walker, 0 takedown attempts. Before that, Johnny Walker ended 3-13 first round, 1 takedown attempt. Prior to that, Jan Blachowicz ended in a draw, 5 rounds, 2 takedown attempts. Prior to that, Anthony Smith, 0.
Okay.
Prior to that, Thiago Santos, you would think, 1. Prior to that, Volkan Ozdemir, 1. Nikita Krylov, 3. Iwan Kuchilaba, none. Kuchilaba, 38 seconds.
See, I just don't get that.
None.
Okay,
I don't get where this idea
So
is
I understand that, and I have long been saying this, right? People had the wrong impression of Magomed Ankalaev. As a counterpoint, what I would offer you, though, is he is probably a better wrestler than many of Alex Pereira's previous opponents, right?
Absolutely.
I would make the argument, and there will be people who would call me stupid, probably the fighters themselves. I would make the argument that if you are anybody facing Alex Pereira, your best bet is to try to take him down. And I'm talking if you're Khalil Roundtree, if you're Yuri, if you are Jamal Hill, you should be drilling your wrestling like your life depends on it, because guess what? It kind of does. If you're going to strike with him, you're going to lose that fight. You should all turn into wrestlers. And so I would make the argument that even though past history does not indicate that he's some Habib Nurmagomedov control grappler, that he should be in March. That is the argument I would make. And if he does that, maybe he can be more effective. Because if you decide, look, we saw Khalil have early success. We've seen moments from you. If you strike with Alex Pereira, sans one beautiful, iconic knockout from Israel Adesanya, if you stand with Alex Pereira, you lose, period. And so you should be wrestling, even though past performance would not indicate that he's Habib.
Well, the one who had the most success against him, you could say, in recent memory was Jan Blachowicz, right?
Yeah.
Jan Blachowicz, 205 debut in Utah. And so that type of game plan, I think, would be his best bet. Here's the other thing. Yeah, you can say you should wrestle Alex Pereira, but you have to close the distance. You have to actually be able to take this guy down. Like this.
Set it up.
It's easier said than done.
Yeah.
But my point is, it's worth the struggle, because the alternative is you have to strike with Alex Pereira and then you're fucked.
No.
Period. Like you lose. That's end game. Do not strike with Alex Pereira. Period.
He's a big, strong boy, though. Like I just
I don't think it's gonna be
I
easy.
think people have just convinced themselves that he's going to go in there,
and
it's going to be Merab shooting 30 times and getting him down 7 times. It's just not going to happen.
It's kind of what you have to do. Like, I mean, that's what Jan Blachowicz is so good at, is mixing things up. He has guys constantly guessing what's happening. Look, you remember the fight when Izzy went up to 205? I thought that was masterful, the way he fought that fight. Like, Izzy was at a point where he's coming in very confident, and you can just see the confidence go round after round, where he's like, I can't really get the timing on this guy. As soon as I think he's going to strike, he's going under me. That's what he's really, really good at. I think you're right, Ariel, that he should look at Blachowicz and what he did, but you got to imagine that being at the level of the game that Pereira is at, like he knows exactly what you're talking about, Ricky. Like he absolutely knows that's what people are going to do with him. It's a difficult task. I think he's better in the in-between moments than people give him credit for, as in stopping people initiating takedowns. I would say that the worst thing for Pereira is when he's actually down. Like, he's actually good at stopping initial surges into takedowns, stuff like that. I just think it's when his back hits the ground that things become very, very difficult for him. So I'm looking forward to seeing it. I think it's going to be a massive fight for Pereira's legacy, because it's been built up into this thing like, oh, they don't want him to fight this guy. This is the boogeyman. This guy's going to ruin everything if he fights Pereira. So it could be a huge fight for him. And on the flip side of that, Ankalaev defeating this guy, the guy that's the poster boy of the UFC, that's saving multiple events last year, be absolutely massive for him.
It would be a disaster. If we're being real, it would be a disaster for the UFC from a promotional standpoint, just because of how popular Pereira is and how sort of unknown Magomed is. It's no knock on him, but Pereira has I mean, you see that reaction when he's showing up to the weigh-ins on Friday. People are losing their shit when he's just showing up to sit in the crowd. It's also worth noting, Alex Pereira's last fight was in October, and he's returning in March. He's returning 5 months after his last fight, which wasn't an easy one. You can make a case that he lost the first 2 rounds. He had to dig down deep. Roundtree was game. After that fight and how active he was between April, June, and October, 3 fights in the span of 6 months, I was the one saying, like, Can he come back in July? I know he's 37. I know he isn't going to fight forever, and he has to, be as active as possible because he's so popular and he had a whole other career prior to this one. He's coming back 5 months later to fight one of his toughest tests at 205 in many people's eyes. He's the underdog. It's really remarkable what this guy does. He continues to lap all the other champions and just outwork everyone.
If he does lose that fight, as you said, and it is a disaster, at least he'd be able to fight for the vacant heavyweight title against Tom Aspinall.
Ah, gosh. You're sticking with this one, right?
Oh, definitely. I'm gonna ride this out until they get in the cage. John Jones and Tom Aspinall.
No one said it was going to be
reading the tea
easy.
leaves.
Yeah. No, it was a great shout.
100% we were told. When we were told 100%.
We were.
I feel like it's UFC 300 of this year when we're like, you're not going to believe this, lads. Yeah. You're not going to believe it. And then we did believe him. We're like, oh yeah, fair enough. And he was like, oh, in your face. Like, this is the same thing. Don't say it's 100% guaranteed and then don't deliver, because
it went from 100% to very confident
to Islam is the best fighter.
Yeah, we're fucked. We're cooked. It's over. The dream is over. PT, we'll talk to you in a bit as well. We're going to talk a little more about the Darren Till situation back into the show, and we will talk to Darren as well in about 30 minutes' time. Aljamain Sterling going to join us at 2:30 to talk about his boy Merab. He was in his corner on Saturday night. Big win over the one and only Umar Nurmagomedov, who, of course, will be right back in there in due time. A man who was at the event working for ESPN, doing all kinds of great work, all kinds of great analysis. He's got a new show as well called On Paper with Anthony Smith. He's your friend and mine. He's the only Kansas City Chiefs fan that I'm allowing myself to interact with this week. He's the great Lionheart. Anthony Smith. Hello, Anthony. How are you?
I'm good, Ariel. How are you?
You're the only one. You're the only one that I could stomach, because I don't want to talk to any of you. I don't want to see any of you. Taylor Swift, Caitlin Clark, all that nonsense. And you have to admit, no one wants you.
I've been so sweet to you about this whole Chiefs Bills thing. Like even when we beat you guys in the biggest moments of football.
Always. Yeah.
I send you a nice text and say, hey man, it sucks. I feel for you. I don't ever rub it in ever.
No, there's no rubbing. By the way, I'm terrified because we're so close. You've tasted the fruit multiple times. You have to admit, you don't want this as bad as I do, because you've been there, done that. You've won, you've lost.
Dude, I agree. Like, of course, the more Super Bowls, the better. But I have a friend that's a diehard, huge Lions fan, and so I feel for him. And then I got another friend that's a big Bills fan, along with you. I get it. I totally understand.
My kids are asking me, like, if they win, are you going to go to the Super Bowl? Like, I can't talk about this. We cannot discuss this. We cannot jinx this. We must get by Sunday.
Why don't you come to Kansas City? Why don't you come to Kansas City?
Oh, for the game?
Yeah. I got 2 tickets for you.
Oh, are you going?
Probably. Yeah.
Wow. How far is it from your house? Because you're in Nebraska, right?
Yeah, like 2.5 hours.
Oh, that's it? Damn. Were you there? No, you weren't there this weekend, obviously.
No, I was working.
Yeah, of course.
I had to sell my tickets.
I can't hang out with a Chiefs fan. I can't be seen.
You'd get brutalized in my section.
I'm good. I'm good in the confines, the friendly, warm confines. We'll talk about New Orleans at a later date.
Okay.
Great work as always this weekend. Great stuff. Can I ask you, by the way, I wasn't thinking of starting with this, but we were just talking about it before you came on. Your level of confidence. So we were talking about Dana saying 100% confident in Jones Aspinall, then going to very confident a couple weeks later, and then him saying Islam is the number 1 pound for pound, alerted all of us to saying, like, oh no, is the Jones talks, are they going bad? Because, usually he's pumping him up. Did that make you think, oh no, we're not getting Jones Aspinall because of how it seems to be declining? And we might be overreacting. We might be reading the wrong tea leaves, but I'm wondering if you see anything there as well.
Yeah, that made me nervous too, because I felt very, very confident about it when he initially talked about it, and it seemed very, very sure. And you can kind of tell when fights are getting close to being made, when fighters stop talking. We haven't heard a lot from Tom. We haven't heard a lot from John, and we typically don't hear a whole lot from John, but Tom Aspinall has been fairly quiet. So I was feeling pretty good about it. And then we've seen the switch with Islam. I think that there's a good chance that he's just really impressed with the mindset and the moves that Islam made during this fight week, taking the fight on short notice, not having any questions. I'm trying not to look too much into it because he didn't seem to. It seemed almost like, okay, yeah, I get it. He's doing all these incredible things. Maybe I'll give him a rub. That's kind of how it seemed.
Your level of confidence right now?
That the Jones Aspinall fight will happen? Very confident.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I feel good about it.
Okay. That was emphatic. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel good about it.
Okay, I feel better. Were you surprised that Islam beat Moicano that quickly?
No. I thought that if he stood out on his feet for too long, Moicano's tricky and he's very slick on his feet. And I thought that early Moicano looked very, very good on his feet, and it looked like Islam got uncomfortable and didn't like it. And he kind of said as much in his his post-fight interview, doing his kind of media car wash. They're like, okay, let's go to this grappling and see how he does there because he's super sharp right now. Islam gets on top of anybody in any kind of dominant position, and he can get a hold of something, he's gonna finish you. He's so good on top, which is why it's so frustrating that we didn't get the Sarukian matchup. He's just such a tough. I mean, look how fast Charles Oliveira tapped when he got to that arm triangle right away, and the squeeze that guy must be incredible.
Your thoughts on Arman not getting the title shot? It sounds like he's not. He kind of seems to be at peace with it, which was a little surprising to me. And I guess it would be Charles, if not him. I was surprised. I thought they'd go right back to it, but I could sort of understand their disappointment. And Dana seemed to imply that ultimately he felt like he could fight without fully saying it. That was the implication. At least that's the way I read it. Are you surprised that it doesn't appear as though he's getting the next shot at Islam?
No, I'm not. I'm not surprised. I'm disappointed though, because that's the fight that I really wanted to see. He's the rightful challenger. He's the next guy. He's the one that presents the most problems for Islam. We've seen it once before where he can compete with him in the grappling and the wrestling, and I think he may be the sharper, better striker. He'll present different problems that no one else can. But there's Ariel, you know how this works. He talked about wanting to get a title shot and that he was the guy that was going to beat Islam, when he was leading into the Charles Oliveira fight. Then he gets it, he gets the win, and then they offer him the fight and he doesn't take it. I'm not saying that I would take it, or I'm not saying that he should have taken it, but we know how this goes. Like you were offered an opportunity. It was a quick turnaround. I totally understand. I wouldn't hold that against him, but there was a no. And then, he punched the fan on the way. Like, the implications and the problems behind the scenes that the punch in the fan causes is a big deal. It's a big problem behind the scenes. But I don't think that it didn't seem like a huge deal got made of it in the media and broadly, but internally that was a huge problem. So there's that. And then, now they invest millions of dollars in the marketing promotion. They put him in LA where he's crazy popular. And then he doesn't go. I'm not saying that he should have. I don't know how bad he was or wasn't hurt. I would never say that, but it doesn't change the fact that that's millions of dollars in marketing and advertisements down the drain.
I'm acknowledging that this is an impossible question for you to answer, that it's almost unfair, but you're a fighter, I'm not. And so I'm just curious, when you see this situation play out, knowing what you go through, I'm sure there's horror stories that we'll never find out about. And, we've heard about, Derek Lewis throwing out his back. DC told me he sneezed before a fight and he threw out his back. Were you ultimately surprised that the plug was pulled, that he didn't just gut it out? Because, as you know, like, you get one shot, you may never get another one again.
Yeah, I was. It also depends on who you are and what is your life like outside of this. If this is your dream and this is the thing that is going to take you on to any kind of success and opportunities that you're going to have, and that this is your only opportunity and you're not going to be that successful otherwise, then you probably go if there's opportunities. And if you don't ever get another title shot, but you don't need this to feed yourself and you're successful and maybe affluent in other ways, maybe you don't. But it's really a circumstantial thing. But I was surprised.
Yeah,
that he didn't push through. And again, he's probably a better man than me because I would have probably pushed through, but that doesn't mean that that's the right decision or the right choice.
Do you get into the whole pound for pound stuff? Do you have a set?
A little bit.
Do you have him as number one?
Uh, Sometimes I think it's a silly conversation. I think that I do get into it. I still think it's John Jones, but
Wow.
I think that it's really the body of work over a long period of time. I know that his inactivity is hurting them though.
Mm-hmm.
The amount of times that he's run out there and done it is damaging to the pound for pound conversation. But I mean, he's gone through 3 different generations of fighters and has continued to win. It's tough. And again, Islam's taken a legitimate loss and John Jones hasn't.
I still think it's Alex just because he's won belts in 2 different weight classes in a short amount of time. John's last light heavyweight fight was in 2020. And so I feel like that still matters. Islam goes up to 170 and wins a belt
the way
there.
that Chael understands it and explains it is if you were to shrink them down or make them larger and make them all the same size, who's going to win that fight? And I still believe that with his skill set compared to Alex's skill set, I think John Jones wins that fight.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people will say you lock him in a room and see who comes out of the room. I think you take them all and you put him in a room, John Jones comes out.
Fair. And you would know. You were in there with him. Could I ask, did you think Arman had a shot? Were you picking Arman? Did you feel like he was going to beat Islam, or did you think maybe it doesn't end in the first round, but ultimately Islam comes out on top?
No, I think Islam was going to have to work really hard for that one.
Mm-hmm.
I really did. Who else is going to offensively wrestle and threaten? I mean, look, we just seen it with Umar versus Merab. Those guys aren't nearly as successful when they're put on the back foot and they're having someone that's walking them down and being offensive wrestling wise towards them and attacking them. It's anyone else that fights Islam they're very defensive. They're trying to get back to their feet. We're just trying to do all we can do to not get submitted. That's not how Sarukian approaches his fights, and that's not how we approached the first fight with Islam. So I thought he had a legitimate chance to have a lot of successful moments in that fight.
Okay, so speaking of Merab, what impressed you most about what he did? He wins 3 rounds to 2, and according to most people, some gave him the first round, but I don't think there's a lot of debate that, in favor of Umar winning that fight, unless you're maybe a part of his team or a part of his management team, if we're being honest. What impressed you most about what Merab did to him on Saturday?
When's the last time we've seen any of those guys on Khabib's team get tired?
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
It never happens. And Merab, that guy's just different.
Yeah.
He's just built different. He was born different than everybody else. The tenacity and even at this point in his career, I thought his striking, it looked like it was a little more honed in, a little sharper. And just the pace that guy puts on people. He fights the hardest possible style. I also think it's so interesting how it wasn't that long ago when Merab was beating everybody and Aljamain Sterling was the champion. And historically in MMA, I think we love to see friends fight. We love to see, those rifts and friendships burned over money and title belts. No one even wanted to watch Merab fight. They didn't even want to watch him fight Aljo. And now, we fast forward to now and he's a goddamn superstar. It was a lot of fun to watch. We're watching guys get takedowns early on in the card and the whole arena's booing, and it's a fairly exciting fight. Merab gets a snatch single and sits Umar down to his butt, doesn't even complete the takedown, and the crowd goes absolutely crazy. I was so happy for him, just seeing him not change anything, not really change who he is, not change his fighting style to appease people. He got booed out of the goddamn arena fighting Jose Aldo.
Yep.
Fights the exact same fucking style versus Sean O'Malley and Umar, and he's a superstar. It's amazing. You just it's cool to see someone just withstand the bullshit and just stay true to who they are, and eventually it'll work out.
Why do you think that is? Because the last name, people may not know a lot about Umar, but the last name is very popular. They know about Khabib. He's right there. And to your point, historically, that style doesn't get that kind of praise. Why do you think they love him so much?
I think it's just he's genuine.
Yeah.
I think eventually he just is like that thorn in your side that just doesn't go away. And people just start to pay closer attention. I think he was very like an impassing type of judgment on him. Like, okay, the Petr Yan fight was all right. And then, the Aldo fight went the way that it went. And then, it wasn't all super pretty, but like eventually you just have to figure out like he's not going away. So then people start paying closer attention. He's pretty funny. Like he's got a really good sense of humor, especially if you follow him online. He's just grown on people. And I think that he's just stayed true to who he actually is. He's unapologetically himself. And and people are just starting to figure out who the real Merab is. I think his emotions being out there, I think really helps him. I think people believe the things that he says when he says them, and I don't know. I'm just happy for his success.
Feels like we're getting Merab versus Sugar too. What kind of a shot do you give O'Malley?
Sean O'Malley's got a shot against anybody. I think I talked about this on the post show. If you're going to beat a guy like Merab, you're probably not going to win a decision. I think we're just kind of figuring that out. He's gonna come forward for 25 minutes, and you're never going to get him to take a backward step. You got to have serious finishing abilities. You got to have one punch, one kick, knockout power to be able to sit him down and back him off. And I think Sean O'Malley is one of the few guys that has that kind of lightning strike type of moments, or is capable of those kind of lightning strike type of moments at any moment in a fight. He's had 25 minutes. He's felt him. He's got some data that he can go back and take in the lab and figure it out. So he's got a great shot. I wouldn't favor him probably. Even now, Merab's done so much heavy lifting. It would be almost disrespectful to not favor him in a rematch. But Sugar Sean O'Malley is as dangerous as it gets.
I'm sure you were watching Yuri versus Jamal very closely because of your relationship with Jamal, also your weight class. And so I'm just wondering, going into the fight, is that how you thought it was going to play out? We all thought it was going to be entertaining, fun, crazy. The buildup was fun. The walkouts were fun. The stare downs were fun. Everything about those two together, fun.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ultimately feel that Yuri would catch him? And did you see an evolution in Yuri's game? We were talking about protecting himself, putting the hands up. Did you see that from him as well?
I didn't think it was going to go like that at all.
Really? What do you think?
I didn't. Yuri is historically very hittable. He's defensively irresponsible. He might be the most irresponsible guy defensively in the division. I thought he fought an incredible fight. He was so calculated. He was so defensively, he was much better. He moved his head. He was hitting angles and circling out after his combinations were finished. His hands were up at times. He was methodical in his approach. Like typically he's like, it's like the guy that throws darts and he just throws 5 or 6 at a time and sees what happens. Like he kind of systematically broke down and approached that fight and broke down Jamal. He's never really fought like that before. I thought that he looked absolutely incredible. And I say that to say, I thought Jamal looked pretty good too. Like Jamal had a tough first round. His timing was off. His movement was off a little bit. He was reaching versus bringing his feet with him like he typically does. He got caught watching a little more. He wasn't nearly as aggressive. And I would credit a lot of that to the things that Yuri was doing because he did give a different look than I think all of us expected him to give. Second round, I thought Jamal made a great adjustment, but he couldn't get to his head because, again, Yuri's so easy to find. He always has been. Alexander Rakic, love that guy, love his game, love his style. He's not a great boxer. He's just not. He's a great kicker. He's a great kickboxer, but like just with strictly his hands, he's not that technical. He's not that clean. He had no problems finding Yuri. Dominic Reyes had no problems finding Yuri. Alex Pereira's had no problems finding Yuri. And then he gets in there and he's got this new wrinkle to his game. And so Jamal was struggling with it. He made the adjustment, went to the body in the second round. I thought that was a great adjustment by him. And then Yuri readjusted and ends up getting the finish in the third. Honestly, I don't think there's any negatives coming out of it. I thought they both looked really, really good. People are going to say that I'm making a bunch of excuses for Jamal because he's my friend, and I'm going to. If you take out the couple minutes that he was in there with Alex Pereira, which wasn't long, there wasn't much of a sample size, there wasn't much experience and time he gained out of that. He hasn't been in a real fight since he fought Glover before he tore his Achilles. So I think there's a chance that he was a little bit of a slow starter and took him a little while to get his bearings, but I think it was good for him. It was a great experience. I thought he looked good. I thought Yuri looked absolutely incredible. Really no negatives.
Are you surprised Magomed Ankalaev is the favorite going in there against Alex, at least as of right now?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's and what do you think? What do you feel about that fight? You don't have to give us an official prediction, but like it seems like everyone thinks he's just going to go out there and wrestle F him when historically that's not necessarily his game.
It's not his game. That's really not his game. The only time he really, really went heavy wrestling, a little bit in the Paul Craig fight, and then the Jan Blachowicz fight when he was essentially down 2 complete legs. So it's not really his style. Does he have the ability to? Yeah, probably. But it's not something you typically do. It's not where your instincts are. I don't suspect we see him go there a bunch, but I don't think you have to look any further than his own words. He's not gonna wrestle Alex Pereira. That's what he says. He doesn't seem like, I don't have any reason not to believe him. Says he's gonna stand in front of him. He's gonna knock him out. I mean, maybe he'll double cross us, and I don't think that'd be great for him. But is there anybody that you would favor in a striking match versus Alex Pereira?
No. And
Yeah,
it would
me
be
either.
incredibly ill-advised if he does not at least try to wrestle him. At least try to
He
close the
seems
distance and try to get him up against the cage and frustrate him, but easier said than done.
And I believe him.
Yeah.
I kind of believe him.
So you can get this great analysis each and every week on the brand new show On Paper with Anthony Smith. How many times a week do we get this? And tell us about you launching this, because we know you were doing the show with Bisping. We also know you're still doing the work with SiriusXM, still with ESPN, but now this is your own baby, right?
Yeah, this is my own thing. Kind of been it's been in the works for a long time. I've been talking about it for a long time. I think it's after my last fight, I decided to kind of pull the trigger just on my own little project here. So we're recording once a week. So we'll record Mondays. It'll definitely drop Tuesdays. So this week's episode will come out tonight around 6 p.m. Eastern.
Nice.
But yeah, it's fun, man. It's just it'll be largely fighting, but like sometimes I just like to ramble and get off on other topics. And if you don't want to listen to it, you can always turn it off when we get to that point or whatever. It's just my own little fun project. It's been cool. It's been fun so far. We've only done 2 episodes, but so far it's going well.
And where can people get it? YouTube and then the usual podcasts?
Yeah. It's on YouTube. So jump over there and subscribe and check out some videos. Like them if you like them. Don't if you don't. And all your regular podcast platforms.
Love it. Okay, On Paper with Anthony.
Are you subscribed, Ariel?
I am subscribed. In fact, I hit you up about it when I saw the trailer.
Right away. Yeah, right away.
I saw you talking about doing some scuba diving stuff in Puerto Rico and having like this epiphany. Do you mind telling us more about it? You go scuba diving, you're like thousands and thousands of meters undersea, and it's in
not that far.
Okay, maybe hundreds of thousands. I don't know. I've never scuba dived before. I'm too big of a wimp. Point is, you go under, you're among the sea creatures, the sea life, and that's when it hits you that you need to keep going. I know I'm paraphrasing, but is this
I have so many things going on in my life. I got 4 kids, 3 of them are in sports. I coach my 7-year-old wrestling team. My older 2 are in 2 club sports at the same time. I have this desk work. I got the ESPN stuff. I got a billion things going on. And then, Scotty dies, and then I go into the fight, and the fight goes the way that it goes, and just everything sucks, And so I just kind of disappeared to Puerto Rico, and the last year I've been doing this scuba diving thing. And when you're down there, and you're like 70, 80, 90 feet underwater, like the only thing you can really focus on is just being where you are and focusing on your depth and how much gas you got left in your cylinders and your dive partner, and you're trying to look around, and you just have to focus on each breath in and each breath out. And it's like this real therapeutic thing that I found. And so while I was down there, I went there the day after Christmas. We took the family down to Puerto Rico, and I don't know, I just couldn't wait to get in the water.
Wow.
And typically the ocean's like I started doing the diving stuff because the ocean has been so terrifying for me. I've always been afraid of like deep water in the ocean. And so I just kind of a year ago decided I was going to chase this thing down and find out why. Turns out I'm not really afraid of the ocean. I'm afraid of being on the surface. And so once I'm down deep underwater and can kind of see around me, it's really, really comfortable and safe feeling. So, I don't know, once everything was shut off and I can just focus on myself and whatever's going on in my head, I don't know, I just decided like, I can't go out like that, crying on the way to the cage where, having a goddamn panic attack and just upset and sad and going in there and letting Dominic Reyes punch me in the face just to feel something other than grief. I just didn't want to do that. So, yeah, we're going to go one more time, Ariel. One more and that's it for me.
Okay, so I have to say, as someone who likes you and respects you, dare I say, calls you a friend, we've had some nice conversations.
Oh yeah.
You know, on a personal
Stop
note.
questioning that. I don't know why you do that.
Well, I don't want to show
we're
like a
not
bias.
friends.
I don't want to show a bias to people,
Just
but
be biased.
it's
I'm biased
inevitable.
sometimes.
We're human beings, right?
Yeah, you can't help it.
Okay, fair enough. My good friend Anthony Smith, I'm watching you emotional walking down, you know, to the fight, emotional after the fight. It was hard to watch. And I can't imagine what it was like for your family and very, very close friends, you know, to see you in that state. It was very hard to watch. But you did stop short at saying it was it. I think the word you used was maybe or probably, something to that effect. So now it sounds like you are going to go. And are you saying that the next one is the last one, sort of like what Dominic Cruz just said, like it's one more, no ifs, ands, or buts? Are you saying that that's what's
it's
at
one
play
more.
here? Okay.
Yeah, it's one
And
more.
is the
It's
UFC
win, lose, or draw? That's it.
Is the UFC on board with this?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. Do you have that assignment?
I do.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Is it out there?
No.
Do you want to make it out there?
No. Yeah, I do, but I'm not trying to get in trouble.
All right.
You can't get fired on your last one.
Bro, it's your retirement fight. Do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah, it's true. Like, what are they gonna do? Fire me?
Break it on your pod. That's the least they could let you do.
That's a good. You know what? That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna ask him. Like, can I at least announce it on my own podcast?
Hell yeah, you should.
Yeah.
And everyone will credit your pod and will get some pub for your pod.
Yeah, and you'll do it on here. You'll credit Don Paper
1000%.
Anthony Smith. There we go.
Can I ask time frame at least? Just that.
Yeah, April.
Okay, and are you happy with the opponent? Are you at peace with this?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's less about it was more about the
final
more about
walk.
the time. It was more about the time and place.
Okay, interesting. Time and place.
Yeah.
Okay. Anthony Smith is
I don't
headlining
think
the
the
UFC's
event's
return to
announced.
Nebraska at where the Cornhuskers
Shit, I
play.
wish.
90,000?
That'd be sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Do you regret fighting in December?
No. You know, I cried every single day on my way to practice and on my way back, and I was like in absolute grief. Like I couldn't even think straight. Like I just, and I still like I miss my friend, but after the fight, I've cried very little. It was like I think I needed that to heal. Like that was. I don't know. I kind of did the same thing after my mom died. Like I went and fought, and maybe I shouldn't have. Maybe I should have. Who knows? But I was better leaving the octagon than I was going in.
Why do you think that is?
Some fucking psychopath. There's something wrong with me. I don't know what it is, but there's something wrong with me. I don't know.
Did you really say to Dominic, you know, what he said in the post-fight, you know, hit me so I could...
What did he say?
You know, he said that you told him to hit him, or sorry, you told him to hit you so that you could feel something other than grief.
I don't remember saying that. I don't remember saying anything though.
To him?
I'm not saying I didn't.
But you said it just before that. You said it in this chat.
Yeah, I've told him that before we even got in there.
Oh, so maybe he was just saying that you told that to him on fight week?
Yeah.
Wow. Where were you guys?
Like when the fight was going, like I realized immediately he was in a mixed martial arts competition, and I didn't want to be a part of.
Right.
I wasn't there for a competition. I was there for some healing and to get into a fist fight. So once it was like, I don't know, I thought the first round was going pretty well. If the plan was to win the fight, that wasn't the plan though. Like I wasn't in there for like if I was able to exercise whatever demons I was trying to exercise and accidentally won, then great. But there was like healing and some real chaos that needed to take place, and he wasn't interested in it. And so then we just had to go a different direction.
What were you like in the locker room? Like we saw you walk out emotional. Were you emotional in the locker room too?
I was when I first got there, because there's like some things that happen that are like inherently habit that you don't really realize until it's happening. It's like something you never think about before, but then when it happens, like, oh shit, like this is when Scotty would do this, and this is when like, so that threw me off a little bit. I will say though, I owe Bryce Mitchell a debt of gratitude. He was in my locker room, and I don't know that he could tell something was going on, but he was like, he had this other room that was kind of off of mine a little bit. And I don't know if he could tell something was off or like, and I was a little bit emotional, but I was kind of holding it together. but I'd have to go like back in the shower area and I'd kind of lose it for a second and then pull it together. And then Bryce moved his whole team into my space. Didn't say anything, didn't ask, like just walked in. And I remember he said something like, just want to be closer to you, brother. Like, it was like, it was the oddest thing, but like I felt more comfortable.
Wow.
For some reason. And then right before they said, Anthony, you're walking in 2 minutes. And I just felt like, I don't know, Bryce is a really faith-based person.
Yeah.
And I'm not like a big prayer or a big church guy, but I just felt like I needed something from Bryce. And I kind of went over and I put my hand on the back of his head and I said, I need one from you. And we just kneeled. He knew exactly what I meant. Like we kneeled down and had this, I have a picture of it. Someone snapped a picture and we had this amazing prayer. And I don't remember exactly what he said. But I felt, I don't know, I felt like very unsure the whole day.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure what I was unsure of, but leaving that moment with Bryce, I felt like, okay, you're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing.
Wow.
I don't know. I felt good about it.
Good for
And
Bryce.
like still sad and still, whatever, because of just the moment. But like, I felt very, I don't know, vindicated. Like I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. Like you are where you're supposed to be. And so that meant a lot to me.
At peace, perhaps.
Yeah. Sad, but definitely where I was supposed to be.
Okay. By the way, that was at least officially your 59th pro fight.
Mm-hmm.
Am I right? So this would be your 60th.
Next one's 60,
which is an incredible number to go out on. Just curious, of those 59, was Scott a part of all of them?
Most of them, yeah.
Wow.
There was a few early on, like in maybe 08 and 09, that maybe on and off he missed, like a few here and there. But after that, generally no. He missed one UFC fight during COVID when I fought Devin Clark. He tested positive for COVID him and Danny tested positive for COVID on our, remember we used to have to do those pre-departure tests where before you flew out, you had to test negative. He tested, him and Danny were positive for COVID before they flew to Vegas to corner me. So he missed that one. Other than that, he's never missed a UFC fight.
Wow, it's like 98%.
Never missed a UFC fight, never a Strikeforce fight, never even Bellator when I was in Bellator back in the day. Most 98% of them.
I know it's still fresh, but do you feel like you're getting back to yourself?
A little bit, yeah. I guess it's just getting used to the new normal. Like, and there's a lot of things that come along with that. I'm his highest ranking black belt, so there's this whole jiu-jitsu legacy, and there's an entire team that like I wasn't ready to take all this over. I just wasn't prepared for all of that. I wasn't prepared to be that guy.
Mm-hmm.
I always thought that I'd be pushing his crippled ass in a wheelchair and dumping him onto the mat still and kicking his ass, but and him just kind of being the guy. But so I guess he prepared me for it, but I wasn't necessarily prepared myself for it. So there's a lot of that stuff of just figuring out how to be him without being him to the rest of the team. There's a lot to it.
Are you taking over the team?
The jiu-jitsu program, yeah.
Wow. Okay, so you're adding another duty to the pile.
Yeah. There's a lot.
Wow.
And there's other black belts that are under me that like they're like, I'm not going to pretend that I'm teaching all these classes and doing all this stuff. Like those guys are taking on a large portion of that. But in terms of overseeing the team and the promotions and making sure that it's being ran the way that it needs to be and the curriculum and all that stuff, yeah, that's on me now.
Could you have ever believed that you would make it to 60 pro fights?
No, never. It's crazy too. Like that shit happens overnight where it's just like, I thought before Scott died, I was saying I had 3 or 4 left. That was kind of my plan. And I never even had a number. I didn't until we just took this last fight. Hunter was actually the one that said 60. That's a good number to end on. I said, holy shit, I didn't even realize this one's 60. But it happens really fast when you're just grinding. But yeah, before Scott died, I thought I had 3 or 4 more left. And I definitely don't have 3 or 4 more left. I don't know. just kind of done. Like that was kind of it for me. You know when like Habib said that he didn't want to do it anymore without his dad?
Yeah.
It's kind of how I feel.
It makes all the sense.
Like it's
So why even do the last one? Just because you don't want to go out the way you looked in December?
yeah. I think I would just regret not doing it for me. Like the last one felt like was for him. Like this one, I just want to do one more that's for me and give everyone, I don't know, give myself an opportunity to do the things in training camp that maybe I haven't done before. And like even the last training camp, I spent a little more time at home with Scott, and like I bounced around with Dean Thomas and went to Arizona with Javier Torres. And like I'm sure I'll do a little bit of that for this next training camp and just get a little bit of time at like go spend a few days with Longo and bounce over to, wherever I've always wanted to and be a pupil to a lot of people that I have a lot of respect for. And just give myself the opportunity to do that. And then just go into it knowing that this is it and have no reservations and no second thoughts and no guesses and just, I guess, just finalize it.
When you're done, you think you'll really be done? Or you think you'll be one of those guys who's like, oh, in a year, there's this, there's that, there's this.
No, I'll be done.
You think so?
Yeah. I kind of got out of it with all my faculties.
Yeah.
Like, and I got other things I can do. And like, I have a 3-year-old that doesn't, like, she'll never remember how cool I used to be. So like, I have another shot to like, just be a dad, like my older two didn't get the same dad that my younger two will. So, I have to take advantage of that. And I don't know, Ariel, I can just tell, like, can I still win fights? For sure. There's a lot of people that I'll still beat. I'll beat most of them, like, we're talking all the top guys in the top 5. Maybe those days are past me, but in terms of just generally at 205 pounds across the world, I'll beat most of them. But there's just things I can tell that I don't like. Like I get in just fine. I don't always get out as quickly. Like there's just little things that I don't like, and I don't want to have to start adjusting my style to my age.
At least one power slap event.
I tried. They told me no.
Straight up. Even if you retire.
I asked Hunter. He told me no.
Why?
He wouldn't even bring it to Dana.
Damn.
I don't know. He said no.
I still don't understand why you're not a commentator for those. You actually genuinely love it.
I get it. I understand why.
Why?
I'm more analytical in my analysis and my commentating. And let's just be fair. There's not a whole lot of analysis going into Power Slap. Bisping he can be just as analytical as me, but he can do something that I can't. Like he can sell things. And he can make you care about something. He can promote it. He gets wild and crazy and he gets you very excited for something. I'm not the big crazy promoter and I can't do both. I just have to stay in my lane and do what I do best. He's just better at that than I am.
Last thing, did you get rid of your ex, your Twitter?
I did. Yeah.
What happened?
A fucking dumpster fire.
Yeah.
My life is a lot better without it.
Okay.
Like my view on the world is totally different without it. You should try it.
You know what? It sounds great. I feel like I need it for news to stay up to date on things, but yeah,
you're tricking yourself.
Yeah. What was the breaking point?
I was seeing actual murders.
Oh, wow.
On X. Yeah. Like because like you scroll it and then you look at one.
Yeah.
And you're like, what the hell's that?
Yeah.
And then then they just keep popping up and they're like, oh my God, I'm like watching literal gang shootings. Like this is crazy. And I don't know, man. I got obsessed with it and I was just in the bowels of the world looking at some of the worst possible things. I was like, I got it. Like every time it opened it was just something negative going on in the world and a lot of sadness. And I don't know. I just didn't want to see it anymore.
It does feel like really like the depths of hell.
It does.
And you try to search for some fun stuff. And there's like, oh, there's a moment here. Oh, there's I'll watch the Bills highlights. There's great stuff, but you could probably get it anywhere else. And then you get sucked into this negativity and this toxicity.
It's just toxic, and I'm a whole lot better without it. That's for sure.
Okay, great.
You should just delete the app for like a week and see how you feel.
I'm gonna work on that. A lot of changes coming. Yeah.
I mean, come on, dude. You got like 40 people working for you. You got all these people running your socials.
Yeah, right.
Just
we'll get there.
Just have someone else run it and just try it for a week and see how you feel.
Okay.
Okay. See?
I'll tell you what. If the Bills win the Super Bowl, I'll do it. How about that?
You get rid of it completely.
I'll do the 1 week thing.
2 weeks if they win the Super Bowl.
You got a deal.
Okay, that's the deal.
Yes.
If the Chiefs win, a month.
Chiefs win, I'm going into a dark, deep depression. So it might.
You wouldn't be able to handle Twitter if the Chiefs win.
No, it would be awful.
Yeah, it'd be terrible.
Not as bad as the Ravens fans.
Running.
They were a bunch of assholes leading up to. They were so cocky. So I was happy to be.
How'd that feel?
It felt fantastic. I mean, honestly, I felt I felt truly emotionally exhausted, and I said afterwards, I can't even imagine what it would feel like if we won the Super Bowl. When Mark Andrews dropped the ball, I didn't even react because I was frozen. I couldn't even believe it, and I had just sort of. I'd come to the conclusion.
How do you think that guy feels today?
Oh, I feel horrible for him, and he's a Ravens legend, and he had a horrible game,
Right.
and it sucks. And I'm sure the fans aren't too nice to him right now, and I'm sure social media is awful for him. But
He needs to get rid of Twitter.
I can't even. Honestly, my heart goes out to him. But we had a minute 33 left, and I felt like, all right, just score, get it out of the way, and we're going to come back, and this will be a great Josh Allen moment. It didn't have to go there. I just want one, Anthony. I just want.
Okay.
I just want to know what it
Well, I'm
feels
not
like.
going to give it to you. If you get it, great.
I
But
just want to know what
I'm not
it
going to
feels
help
like
you.
in February when you're sitting there on that Sunday night and it's snowing and it's freezing outside and your team is holding that trophy and there's the confetti and the parade and the T-shirt and the hat. I just want to know what that feels like. What does that feel like?
Do you
What is
think
it?
you'll cry?
Oh my God, I felt like crying on Sunday. I was telling my kids about what it meant and they're like, why do you like them so much? It's the Bills and the Knicks for me. And I started getting teary-eyed just thinking of the 10-year-old kid who was crying in his parents' bathroom when Washington beat us in 1992. I was crying because I was like, why they have to lose twice in a row? And then it ended up
Right.
being 3 in a row and then 4 in a row. Torture. But most importantly, and I think you could sympathize with this, I don't really want it for myself. Those people in Western New York and Buffalo in particular,
Yeah.
it ain't Puerto Rico over there in February and January. They have a
No.
tough life. And I
It's
really
rough
would
game.
love it for them. I would really love it for them. That's a good fan base, great people,
Mhm.
kind-hearted people. They donate, they do all the great stuff. I would be so happy for that community.
I hope you get one. I just hope it's not at the expense of us.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Always
That's
appreciate.
fair, right?
Yeah, 100%. Listen,
Yeah,
someone
that's
has to win. I think you've
do.
beaten us enough. I said this is Josh Allen's Bulls Pistons moment. This is where he has to get over the hump. The guys who beat him
He's gotta
3 out
get
of the
over
last
it.
4 years. We'll
Not
see.
gonna happen.
It's going to be great theater. Appreciate the invite. Appreciate you
Yeah.
coming on. Congrats on the new show.
You gonna
Congrats
come on my
everything.
show ever?
I would love to. Am I
Okay.
allowed? Because there was
of course.
I think there was a ban on your previous show. Has the ban been lifted?
It wasn't me.
No, I'm
Me
kidding.
and you were good.
I'm
Me and
kidding.
You were
I'm
good.
just-
I
I'm
never
just
have
doing-
any problems.
Of course.
You're stirring
Amy,
the pot. That's what you're doing.
I owe you 150 interviews. So yes, anytime, any
Okay.
place, I'm there.
All right, sounds good. Take care of yourself, Ariel.
All right. You too, Anthony. Thank you so much and good luck.
Is it too late? Is it still too late to say Happy New Year?
21st? Yeah, it's too late.
Yeah. All right.
Have a
Fuck
good
off,
January. Rest of your
All right, later, bro.
There he is, the great Anthony Smith, Lionheart Smith. What a guy. So Uno Mas for him. Are we going to see a few Uno Masses this year? Dustin Poirier talking about it as well. Are we going to see a few? That was tremendous stuff. I'm going to... Yesterday when I called Darren, it was like the easiest booking of all time. Hey, Ariel, how's it going? Great. Can you come on at 7? Yeah, no problem. Okay. Look, the call lasted 25 seconds. Darren and I speak on did you know that you can make phone calls on Twitter?
Oh, yeah.
How do I get rid of this thing? I could call up Darren Till.
You can make phone calls on Twitter?
No, seriously. Did you know that?
I know that because
Darren
we have
Till.
had this exact conversation. This
Because
might
when
be
we were
the third
searching for
time.
Darren Till?
Yeah, this might be the third time that we've had I communicate with Darren Till via phone calls on
Yeah, but did you know?
Before this, no, I had no clue actually.
We don't care.
I'm calling him right now. There's too much stress in my life.
Oh, yeah?
booking Darren Till every week on the show just adds to the stress.
You beat Anthony Taylor, you know.
Top of the world.
You're too big.
This is what happens, by the way, when you call someone on Twitter.
Pretty sure you demonstrated this the last time as well.
The music, we did this whole bit.
We did this entire thing, man.
I don't believe you. What happened? Did he pick up?
No.
He didn't pick up then either.
I think they're still efforting.
No. The last time I
on
did
him right
this.
now, Frankie.
Yeah.
Well, you're talking to him right now.
No.
Jeez.
Frank is deeply confused back here.
Honestly, I'm shocked that you can call someone on Twitter. How does this work?
Well, your Twitter calls.
By the way, are we going to get
Twitter.
demonetized for this sound right now?
No.
I'm just going to let it go until he picks up.
You just the next interview is going to be like, "What's that sound?" You're like, "Shh, shh, shh, shh."
Let's see. It's not bad music.
We can't hear it anymore.
Oh, it kind of sounds like the Skype music. Do you remember when you used to have...
Yeah,
By the way, whatever happened to Skype?
it just there wasn't room for them anymore.
Got beat out.
Zoom took advantage of the pandemic, and that's all she wrote.
Does it even exist?
It does still exist, but no one really uses it.
Yeah, there used to be a time where, it was such a pain in the butt. Because now if someone comes on the show, you just send them the Zoom link. So much easier. Before it would be like, hey, Anthony, can you come on the show? Yes. What's your Skype name? I don't know. Then they have to look it up. Then they forget to send it to you. By the way, we need you to send your name. Then you have to call them and track them down as opposed to just clicking on the link. And then there was a period towards the very end, I don't know if you guys remember this, where they changed the names, where it stopped being like at Ariel Helwani or whatever it was. It ended up being like live : 679242827. It's like, what? And then you have to put that in there? Makes no sense.
The one thing they did really nice is they had like dedicated Skype hardware. So like if you had the ability to call, you'd have an actual unit. That's the Skype unit. So we don't have that anymore.
What do you mean, like a box?
Yeah. In fact, they have some here in the equipment room. They're all unplugged because no one uses it.
Oh, really? Wow. I didn't know that.
Was Skype always owned by Microsoft, Frank?
No.
Not always.
It is now, though?
It is, yeah. I don't think, has it been for a while?
It has been for a while, and that's what you're referring to, that live dot thing, or your Microsoft Live account numbers.
Yeah, they
If they have Skype, why do we have Teams also?
That's probably the same thing that board meetings at Microsoft involve every time. Like someone asks, like, why do we do this? They're like, I don't know. It's just what we've done.
I'm surprised that Skype didn't pivot to just essentially, like, everyone steals everyone's ideas, right? Instagram took stories from Snapchat.
Instagram took Reels from TikTok.
Threads from TikTok. No, threads from Twitter.
That feels like Instagram just steals it.
Well, what about
Facebook stole from
Twitter?
Facebook.
Tried to do story. Anyway, point is, Skype should have just adapted the link model where it's like, hey, just click on this and you
but
can
there's
join.
patents and stuff. Like it's not as easy as like, not everything is so easy like that.
Do you think if the pandemic never happened, would Zoom still be a thing?
No. In fact, weren't there people investing in Zoom right before the pandemic went? Like, yeah.
What are you trying to say?
I'm just saying. So people knew.
Who was it? Fauci?
That's a little
We're
insider.
definitely-
Wow. That's those are damning
Wow.
statements right there.
I'm kidding. You're good. He's been pardoned. He's all good.
Shaheen just messaged me. Maybe I crossed.
What do you need to be pardoned for? What did he do that he needed to be pardoned?
Shaheen does want to make sure that the building behind you is not on fire. He
invested in Zoom. What building?
He doesn't.
This?
Yeah, this is Steam. He's in Arizona, right?
Wait,
Bro.
did he actually?
He
This
did.
is New York City right here. This right here is New York City in January.
So just address Shaheen directly. Say like,
Shaheen,
look, man.
It
Nothing
is
to worry
cold
about.
as shit outside. It is disturbing. Fauci really invested in Zoom?
No, I just made that up
shit.
because I went from A to Z. It's currently 19
A to
Fahrenheit.
Zoom.
A to Zoom.
Your calculation on Fahrenheit to Celsius was way
Awful.
off the mark. Yeah.
What was worse, that or me thinking that Anthony Smith was scuba diving 1,000 meters?
Both are just objectively horrible.
Wait, actually, did I say meters or feet?
You
Because-
said thousands and thousands of meters.
Meters. Okay, so
They
wait.
said it wasn't thousands of meters. And then you're like, oh, hundreds of thousands. And I was like, how deep do you think the ocean is, man?
So 1,000 meters is 3,280
Yeah.
feet.
Yeah, you thought he was that far down?
I thought it was 10,000 leagues under the sea.
What's a league? How deep?
I don't know. Just that's
The
right.
league is like an acre.
Also, that story is like notoriously like you're so deep under the ocean. It's not about someone going scuba diving.
So 1,000
No.
leagues is 1.548 E plus 7 foot.
No, so it's referring to like an acre, like a square. So it's not how deep it is; it's how vast it is. I always thought that was fun.
But what is what is it in terms of under? You're that under the
It
sea?
doesn't matter. Like it could be 20,000 leagues, but only 10 feet under the sea.
Oh, well, why is it called 10,000 leagues under the
It's
sea?
Yeah.
20,000 leagues, first of all, and it's referring to how vast of a open ocean there is. Like there's just so much land and so much
Okay.
unexplored area.
Okay.
Depth doesn't really matter
How many?
But
Okay,
what's the under? Why put the under? Why not just put 20,000
because
leagues
it's under
of the sea?
under the surface of the sea.
Okay, so let me ask you this:
Huh.
1 league equals 15,840 feet. So 20,000 leagues would then be like well over 30,000 feet. So technically, I was right.
What's a nautical mile?
That I saw that pop up too. You're seeing
Darren,
that in
look what you're
Google?
doing to us.
Yeah, Darren.
No, I'm actually not sitting at Google right now.
Oh, that came up.
Yeah, but even the leagues thing, like Anthony Smith could never be that deep. No one could.
You don't think?
Scuba diving? No.
I've never been.
Pressure starts crushing you, man.
Have what about the people that went down like to see the Titanic?
Stop.
Yeah, brother. You think
What?
they were scuba diving when they did that?
I don't know what they
James
were doing.
Cameron just threw an oxygen tank
Listen.
on his back and was like, "All right, I'm going to see the Titanic. I'll be back. Peace."
Listen, I don't know what he was doing. He was under the sea. And by the way,
Yeah.
isn't it funny that my whole life I've been called Ariel, and clearly, you know, the Little Mermaid,
Yeah.
and clearly I know nothing about any of this.
Have you ever been even like snorkeling?
Sorry.
This is you just got big timed.
Have I been snorkeling?
I can't believe you even have to think about it.
Yeah.
Nah, I did like surface stuff. By the way, I used to have a
Surface
big.
stuff is snorkeling, like the little.
Let me tell you the real reason.
Like you have a straw.
If you must know.
You're scared of the
I
water.
used to have horrible ears. I would always get when I was a kid. I would inevitably, anytime I went in the pool, I would get an ear infection.
Oh damn,
Inevitably.
that's rough.
By the way, this is the reason why I can't ride a bike.
Because your equilibrium's all fucked.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, has this been told to me by a medical professional? No, but this is the.
Oh, this is like the
Conclusion.
fruit.
Is
Yeah.
this because you had microwave food once and then everything got thrown
No, it
out?
has nothing to do with the microwave. Okay, don't be cheeky. The point is the idea of going that
Frank is really
what
One broke
he's
me.
really
I'm sorry.
tickled himself. He's really tickled himself.
the idea of going that underwater,
Yeah.
a death sentence.
You can wear like earplugs. You can
Nah,
wear
it doesn't work.
covers.
It always seeps in.
No.
It's the pressure.
No.
So you can never do the sensory deprivation tanks, huh?
Sounds like a nightmare.
I've been wanting to go and do one of those.
That's the one where you float.
Yeah, in the darkness.
That's what my wife asked for her birthday present. She's like, I want to go on another float.
Oh, she went and did it.
Oh, she's done it several times. I've done
Oh,
it several times.
oh.
They are the best.
What's so good about it?
It's just so relaxing, man.
I'm gonna have to go do that.
literally feel like you've just unplugged from the world.
Really?
Yeah, I highly recommend it. Not for you because I don't want you to get your infection. Although you do put earplugs in.
Mm.
I might
So-
go do that soon.
Are you by yourself?
Yeah, so you're
Can
completely.
you do like a
isolated.
couples version?
No,
I don't think
because
I'd
then you're
wanna
not
do that,
you're not
yeah.
unplugging from the world.
Yeah, then it's like I could still hear you.
How long?
You buy it in like 30 to an hour.
What?
Yeah, like a massage. Like you.
What do you think it
choose
was?
how long-
5 minutes?
Yeah.
Nah.
I thought it was like
You actually
like an ice bath.
You start
No.
floating around, like you move while you're settling in for like the first 10 minutes, and then it's just pure
Naked?
yes.
Hell yeah.
For real?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't want to feel my drawstring.
You get naked during your massage?
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Usually not.
Really?
You?
Butt ass
Absolutely,
naked, baby.
yeah. I'm paying.
Throw the towel on. They're good with it, man. They move that towel in magical ways.
Sure,
where
sure.
you-
No,
where
they're
like nothing ever
tremendous.
gets exposed.
Do they change the water?
Yes, they change the water
Every time?
Every time, and then
Yeah.
you see the giant bags of Epsom salt.
These are premium places, man. It's not like you're like
So what do they drain? Like
The machines.
how much water is in this like
they-
tub that you're
They
in?
drain it, then it gets purified. Like there's a recycling system, not just chucking it out in the street. You know,
it's like a bathtub.
literally, it's like a pod, and you.
Oh, it's that small.
yeah.
I was thinking of like a massive water tower, and you're just kind of
Like,
floating
that
on
sounds-
top.
See, that's the shit you'll think about while you're in there. You're like, oh, am I in a water
Sure.
tower right now?
Your ideologies around water, like
Yeah.
what you have in your head around the ocean, these float tanks.
I
What
was
was in
thinking
one
of
for
this
so long?
massive tank, like like a water tower you would see in like some small town in America.
Are the ones
Yeah.
everywhere
I
in New
think
York?
that you go up
There's-
that and you're just floating at the top of it.
Can you
And I
see one
could
behind you? I actually think they're.
They have water towers on like every
Yeah.
building.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's one right there behind you.
Where is it?
Look
Yeah,
at it,
yeah,
right
that
behind
one,
you.
right.
Directly behind you, to the left
yeah,
one.
right there, right
yeah.
there. I mean, that's a smaller one.
Yeah.
But then I was also picturing Frank on like a donut floaty.
You're imagining Frank's big ass
called
in a like small town water tank.
just floating around.
On,
More of an expression,
on,
Jordan.
on the donut floaty, just like kind of just like sitting there
Drinking a Mai Tai. Like, wonder what Ariel's doing right now.
naked.
Jesus, Ariel. We are still coworkers. There is a line.
You're the one that said it. You're the one that said it. I didn't think it was naked. You've just told me about the naked part.
You asked.
What?
How's the
You
Twitter
said
call going?
naked?
Yeah, let's try it one more time.
3 o'clock hard out?
Yeah, for sure. Oh, you know what? There's a video component too. Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
FaceTime him.
Here we go. Do you think he's going to pick up?
No. No.
Okay, that ship has done sailed.
Here we are. Wow. By the way, we've definitely not talked about this. There is no video. Like, did you guys know this?
What?
That you could call people video.
I did not know that, but I'm not surprised.
We don't care. Well, I'm just going to leave it here and he can watch me. Aljamain Sterling is going to join us in 4 minutes, hopefully, to talk about Merab, to talk about where he goes from here. You know, we had him on after the Movsar fight. Always very honest. Always very. I think he he keeps it real. He shows up. He talks about the wins. He talks about the losses, and he was quite vocal about Merab fighting Umar and the last name stuff. He talked about it on this show. He's got the Funk Harbor rum. We dusted that one off. We polished it off in short order. The boys loved it.
I think mostly GC.
I'm waiting on the bottle of the white rum.
Oh, yeah.
Fun cover white.
Yesterday, we talked a little bit about Darren Till's win. I'm very curious to know. He's full-time with Misfits now. And so he was, he was quite critical of this world, this crossover influencer world, whatever remains of it. And now it feels like he's arguably like the second biggest face in Misfits. Here he is going up against Anthony Taylor. Look at the size difference. Also, I was curious about the socks. He went with the tall. He went with the tall black socks, but it looked a little bit like did it look like negligee to you guys? Usually you see like tall white socks.
It almost looked like something you'd wear under a suit pant.
Yeah. They were like a little bit see-through, right? Why do you think he went with the tall socks?
Too tall, no scrunch ratio there.
Also, is he wearing soccer cleats?
Nah, I think just Adidas.
But they look like they're like not high tops, low tops.
Yeah, they might have been low tops.
Like most
I don't
boxing.
know. I feel like those might have been boxing shoes.
You think so?
Yeah.
It's hard to tell where the shoe starts or where it ends, and the socks all
Where the
black.
shoe ends and where the
Yeah.
sock starts is tough.
But look, he's a massive, massive name in the UK in particular. People like him. People are interested in him. There's no one with his fight credentials in Misfits. Obviously, UFC title contender, main eventer, etc. To me, like they have just fallen into a KSI versus Darren Till fight. That is the fight to make. No ifs, ands, or buts. That is by far the biggest fight that they could put on right now. And KSI seems to be moving further and further away from Jake Paul. KSI versus Darren Till in Liverpool, in Manchester, in London is massive box office. Now the question is, can KSI beat Darren Till? I don't know. Darren's pretty big, A. KSI's smaller than Jake. That's part of the problem with the negotiations. But it's hard to really truly know who Darren Till is as a boxer right now. But I think, would you guys agree? Darren Till probably beats KSI at this juncture, right?
Yeah, I feel like.
I would love to see it. I think the build up to that would be tremendous. I don't know if they're going to do it. I found out yesterday on the show as I was trying to set up a whole discussion about KSI versus Wayne Bridge. I found out live on the program
Yeah, you exposed yourself for being a casual for sure there.
that Wayne Bridge was out,
Yeah.
devastated. I've been looking forward to that fight for quite some time.
Since Saturday.
Yeah. Since I had to Google him after seeing him, I thought it was a skit. First, an old guy walks out, then Wayne Bridge walks out, and then I thought, all right, someone else is coming out. But no, it ended up being Wayne Bridge. That fight's off. Just do damn.
Till loved the Wayne Bridge fight.
You did?
Yeah.
No, you crapped all over it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Till versus KSI. Who's the favorite in that one?
Maybe we'll hear from him about it at 3 o'clock.
Or maybe at 5 o'clock with Ade. Maybe that's what he's confused about. Since he's a boxer now, he wanted to go on the boxing show. No, it don't make sense.
Yeah, that's for sure it.
No, it don't make
Sure
sense.
it.
No, I look, I'm happy for Darren. Good for him to get back on track. Obviously, no real options right now other than the UFC. If you're trying to make a career and make serious money in MMA, I don't think PFL hasn't really signed any. Like the last big name that PFL signed, Paul Hughes, but obviously he was, he had not really established himself just yet. They haven't really signed any big names like they were a couple of years ago. Obviously, it was the Francis news, so I don't think he's going that route. There's the GFL situation. This is the move. He was supposed to fight Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. on the Netflix card. That didn't pan out. Still think he has some travel issues that need to be sorted. But if he can find a lane here, to beat a few guys and then get to the KSI fight, he can make a lot of money. When a lot of people were counting him out. A lot of people thought he was done. The thing is he at peace with all this? Is it just a gimmick for him to be like, I can't believe I'm doing this. I'm above this. I can't believe I'm around these people. Like, that's his gimmick. Is it just a gimmick, or does he really feel that way? Because if he really feels that way, he's going to be unfulfilled. Because Darren himself says he doesn't fight for the money, right? He isn't arse. I think that's what he said one time. Can't be arse, which means he doesn't care. We don't care.
We don't care.
I tried to set you up for it.
I mean, Till's just relate on everything.
Yeah, he's just you know what? When I die,
We'll have Darren Till there to.
I'd like Darren Till to be one of the pallbearers. So he
I
can
let you down one last time.
one last time. It's going to be Darren Till, Frank.
Just all the people that consistently let you down.
Yes.
Wow.
Who else? Who else should we add to the list?
How many leagues deep should we bury you?
Well, what would we? I think it would be like
No, we've determined that leagues are not depth.
point one.
No.
0.1 leagues. I'm just joking, but no, I think that would be gigantic. I would love to see it. I am very
I
curious.
have a confession though.
Yes.
Jordan is saying that I should tell you that the Bills should be there as well, and I'm like,
wow,
dude, there's no way I'm gonna say that I
Yo.
will get fired.
That is awful. I mean, coming from a Jets fan, I expect
Yeah.
nothing less. But that's
Like maybe Aaron Rodgers could be at your.
and by the way,
right?
not this week, not this week.
It-
If they lose, you could say that joke next week. Right now,
You see what they do to me? I'm the bearer of these cheap
Yeah.
shots, and yet I know you're still frustrated with me right now.
it felt like a cheap shot. Actually, speaking of which, my son today said, "I hope they lose."
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
I was like,
you
wow.
guys been fighting?
Hateful.
and
It's like a Finding Nemo moment.
I was like, this, that really stings.
They don't like the Bills at all.
No, they're just doing it to piss me off.
Were they like, can I go stay the night at my friend's house? You're like, no, the Bills are playing.
No, nothing. It was literally in the morning.
Just out
They're like, yo, what's up, Unc? I
Yeah,
hope the Bills lose.
not exactly, but that was the implication.
I'm not your uncle.
Yeah, bro,
I'm
I
your
get bro.
father.
My daughter, I was like, you want to come to New Orleans if they make the Super Bowl? She's like, no, I don't want to go to the Super Bowl. I was like, wow, okay, all right. Jeez.
Wow, must be nice.
Now I won't feel guilty when I leave you all behind.
So you're gonna go solo.
I might.
Financially, this makes sense because
You and Frank?
Diehard lifelong Bills fan.
He'll wear that all black Josh Allen jersey.
Oh yeah, that's
Right
a great
in
one.
stone.
I hate that jersey, Frank.
Why do you? That was a gift. Why
I
do you
know.
hate it?
Well, okay. First of all, who gave you this?
My wife.
You know what?
No, she's watching this right now, and now
she's
she's
actually
like,
the only significant other of any of ours who watches the show.
Shout out.
Actually, I'm not sure about Andy's husband. Does he watch the show? Okay.
But sometimes it's
he
not.
does.
Oh, he's watching right now.
He's what? Well, hello. No, but
So
you
tell me how much you hate the jersey.
Well, you know what? I think it really brings out your eyes. No, I'm not a big fan of those like alternate one color jerseys.
That
I don't look
that
good
they
in blue.
never actually worn.
That too.
We wouldn't know if you look good in blue. I've
Can I
never
even wear it? He's
never
younger than
seen
me.
you wear anything other than black.
You don't look good in blue. That is the
He's
weirdest
only
thing.
ever
Yeah.
worn black ever.
Yeah.
Because
Never
we
seen him
work
in
in
a different
production.
Oh, that's the rule.
Oh,
yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, why don't you go 10-2, man?
Yeah, go tend to it. All right. Appreciate all of that. Let's get to our next guest. Kind enough to join us. He was in Merab Dvalishvili's corner on Saturday. Victorious moment, a happy moment, some nice scenes afterwards. You see their friendship. You see Merab being asked afterwards, are you the bantamweight GOAT? He goes, no, it's Aljamain Sterling. I'm not listening to anything else. That's the kind of bond these two have. Aljo's kind enough to join us right now to talk about what transpired on Saturday. Hello, Aljo. How are you? Different spot this time.
Yeah, I'm in LA right now.
Ooh, what brings you there?
Well, technically, I'm in Santa Barbara.
Oh.
Went to get some PRP shots for my shoulder. Got banged up a little bit from the last fight. Didn't notice it until later that night. Yeah, so this is supposed to help. So even like helping Merab through the training camp was pretty painful, but I was able to give him as best of looks. I told him, I was like, I can only do one session a day because if I do 2 sessions, it's going to run me into the ground and then I won't be able to help you at all for the rest of the camp. So let's make sure we take our time, and I want to make sure I'm training smart and I don't get a full tear on my rotator cuff.
Did he really drop you with a body shot in the locker room? Is that real?
Well, he made me stop. It wasn't like a drop where I hit the ground,
Yeah.
but he hit me so hard I had to so the room was really small. So just to give people perspective, a very small room, lockers on both sides, the mat on the floor. As he hits me, we're towards the end where you could go to the bathroom, and I had to run to the side real quick before I ran into the coach because he just started coming at me, pow, pow, pow. And then he throws one to the body as I'm about to back into Ray. And then I ran off into the locker room, to the bathroom side, and I had to take a second to breathe.
Damn.
Yeah. I was like, man, I hope he hits Umar with one of these because that did not feel great.
I feel like just now he's truly getting his flowers for how good of a fighter he is, but also the cardio has become this thing. Like he has become the poster boy for insane cardio. You've known him forever. Have you ever trained with anyone like him that has cardio like him that could go 12 rounds like we're hearing about now?
With me training with anybody like that, no. And I've been saying this probably since either 2016 or 17. I think 17. And people would ask me about my conditioning. And this was when I was smaller at 135. It wasn't as big. And I would say, get yourself a Merab. Like there's interviews of me saying that in the pressers post-fight. Get yourself a Merab if you want to get yourself into great shape. Because even back then, the guy was just an absolute machine. And now people are starting to recognize like, oh, his cardio is actually a weapon. It's pretty rough.
How are you feeling going into the fight? Obviously, that's your guy, confident, but now we find out about the back. We find out about the shin. There were some things to potentially, be worried about. What was your level of confidence?
The only thing I had any issues with coming into this was the quick turnaround. And I was very, very wary about the leg because I know Umar kicks a lot and Merab likes to kick sometimes, and I had a feeling he might kick. Well, not a feeling. I felt if he did kick too often, and maybe they clash shins, that thing was going to bust right open, and then maybe the fight's going to get stopped with something so crazy that shouldn't even had happened. But other than that, I was confident just in terms of the preparation. I thought we did everything right. I think from watching the tape, Coach John Wood and I were on the same page. We had Kassane out there helping us, Chechen fighter. He has a twin brother also, really, really high-level wrestler and a bigger guy. So I think between the combination of Hussein, myself, and Muin, who also had a great performance over an undefeated fighter as well, 2 undefeated guys beaten by the same team. Yeah, man, my confidence was through the roof. I told him, I was like, the only thing that could go wrong is if you just get flustered with all the animosity and you make a mistake. If you keep your head on, I just don't see how this guy beats you. Like, you watch his tape, even the Sandhagen fight, it's a great win. And I've said this on my podcast. I just don't think there was anything that overly stood out that you could go, wow, this kid is scary good. He's good, but he wasn't scary good. And I was just telling him, like, dude, look at the guys you've beaten. Look at the guy he's beaten and how he's beaten them. And which one stands out to you as overly uber impressive? So I think it just comes down to doing the right homework. And I think Merab did a great job of that. And I think the team helped him very, very well in preparing.
Ultimately, do you think Umar will get there? Is it possible that this just happened too soon for him? Or do you think he's at his ceiling?
I can't say he's had his ceiling. He's still young. He's still a young guy. I mean, it was still relatively a close fight. But at the same time, it wasn't a close fight. And that's kind of how I look at it. It was close, but it really wasn't that close. You knew who was winning from round to round pretty convincingly, at least in my perspective. I'm sitting cage side and I'm watching, and I could see just about everything. And I never really felt, other than rounds 1 and 2, that it could have possibly gone one way or the other way. But there was never any point where I was like, we're in trouble here. But I think Umar has great potential. He's still a great fighter, young, talented. I always felt like his gas tank was a little bit questionable, in my personal opinion. But obviously, going against a guy like Merab, that's no easy feat for anybody. So I don't want to be unfair to him. And I just didn't like the whole thing. I broke my hand. I'm like, you broke your hand by punching him in the wrong spot of his head. Like, that's on you, So if it was Merab who broke his hand and he still, anything can happen in a fight. It's just, that's what happens. It's a fight.
What were you thinking going into the third? I thought he was down.
He's slowing down.
Oh, you felt, okay, so you weren't worried that he was down 2-0, potentially, Merab.
I thought it was potentially 1-1. I couldn't see how it could have been 2-2, 2-0, but for Umar, I felt like that would have been a stretch. But we didn't technically rule it out, but I just didn't feel like there was a lot of likelihood that it was 2-0 going into the third. But I did like that in the third round, you could see Umar slowing down like towards the end of round 2. And we were letting him know, like, hey, this is where we take over convincingly and let everyone know who's the real champ. And Merab got to show that.
By the way, yesterday, Merab told us this crazy story about when he was being checked out by the commission, and they asked,
oh, my God.
Were you there? This is the craziest thing ever.
Yo, how good is that?
It's unbelievable. This is like out of a movie. Were you watching this?
Yeah. No, I wasn't. I wasn't watching it, but I heard it. I was panicking in the back, thinking, oh, my God, the fight's off. They're going to look at the leg and say it's going to bust open from one strike. And then I hear him on the podcast and on your show, and I hear that. I'm like, so that's how he got out. I had no idea.
That's unbelievable. That's a savvy move in the moment to do that.
Yeah. It's kind of like the DC towel trick. Now, once the cat's out of the bag, I think everyone's going to be onto it now.
That's a good point. I'm still unclear. No one really wants to tell us what happened to the leg. It seems like it wasn't quite jumping into the frozen pond, but it wasn't the smartest. That's what I'm starting to decipher here.
Did he not tell you what happened?
He was like, he was kind of playing coy. John Wood did the same. But I saw the video of him after it happened that he posted where he's like, oh, I did something stupid. So, I mean, it sounds like.
I kind of have some insight on it, but if Merab's not telling the story, I can't do that. If he didn't tell it.
Is it as bad as jumping in the freezing pond?
No, that was like silliness.
Yeah.
You call it stupid. Most people probably call it stupid, but this is also stupid, but not like that. It's different. It's in a different light.
Do you think everything's okay? And, we talked about this last month. He's fighting the promotion. He's fighting this and that. I feel like maybe this could be the turning point. It seemed like Dana was happy, showing him love, showing him praise. He's saying all the right things. He showed up. He fought. It was the fight of the night. Do you think this could be the turning point for him where the UFC really gets behind him? He seemed like a superstar. The crowd seemed to love him. Could this be the moment?
Yeah, I just hope people stop with the stupid ducks commenting stuff. So I'm just glad Dana gave him his praises, gave him his flowers. The guy's beaten a killer's row of opponents. I mean, from John Dodson, a former title challenger 2 times, Casey Kenny, Cody Stamen, Petey Yan, Jose Aldo. Like, he's beaten a lot of good guys. Umar, Henry Cejudo. Like, the list goes on and on. I mean, what else do you want from a guy who never says no to a fight?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I think it was a little unfair that some of the fans kind of gave him a unfair shake, saying that he was ducking and whatever. I'm like, my man just won the belt. Like, give him an opportunity like every other champion has gotten some time to enjoy their time in the sun before they have to go back and defend the belt again in another tough fight. So I think now people can remove all doubt. They can't say anything anymore. They beat the boogeyman, the new boogeyman. There's always a boogeyman, and he just keeps beating him. So it's good to see, and it's good to see Dana give him his fair shake. And you know, the fans seem to turn around whenever Dana gives some type of compliment. So it's nice to hear that, nice to see that, and we'll see what's next for him. There's really not that many choices for him right now.
Sounds like they're leaning towards O'Malley versus him again. How do you feel about that?
It'll be a nice payday. I think it'll be a really nice payday. I mean, the toughest fight will probably be the Petey Yan rematch, and probably the most deserving in terms of what has he done lately. O'Malley fought Yan. He took 10 and a half, maybe 11 months off. And these are all facts. You guys could look it up, call it salty if you want. But these are all facts. Then he fought me in August. And then he took more time off, a bunch of time off, came back in, I think, March or April. I believe it was March.
Yeah, March.
To fight Cheeto.
Mm-hmm.
And then he fought again in September. And then he hasn't fought again, and he won't fight again until probably July or June. I mean, that's people talk about activity. That's not what people on one tongue they say they want to see this, and then on the other side of it, they let people do this and they don't say anything about it. So it's just such a weird thing. I think the most deserving guy is Petey Yan, but in terms of probably the better paycheck, potentially, especially where Merab is now in his career, I think it might be the rematch with O'Malley. I just think in my opinion, it's just a hard fight to sell. Like, you're not selling me that O'Malley does anything differently other than hoping to catch him once in 25 minutes again. Like, I don't know. Maybe he goes out and tries a toe kick in the first round or something.
One thing I wanted to ask you about, we spoke to John Wood about this yesterday. He actually brought it up, and I was asking him about like the kind of celebration, like not the showboating, but he was kind of playing things up, Merab, towards the end. He was talking to the corner and all that, and he said maybe the next thing that we can focus on now is just like if you have enough time to do that, we should be looking at finishing the fight. Like, let's go now. Let's get rid of people. Do you think that that's something that Merab needs to work on? Does that help his popularity if he could go out there and get a couple finishes in a row?
Of course, finishes help everybody, right? Everyone wants to see a finish to get a definitive answer, right? But it's not that easy when you get to the top of the division. Not everyone is, as I say, like Islam. Islam is a freaking like I don't know. He's just head and shoulders levels above the competition. Like, Merab is definitely beating these guys and bulldozing them, but there's something to be said to be able to dominate somebody for 25 minutes or even 20 minutes. It would be nice to get finishes because it's just nice to have on the highlight reels. And I think it burns a little bit more for the fans to kind of have like that definitive moment to kind of really get behind you in that regards. But at the end of the day, you're fighting the best of the best. And I still think bantamweight division is one of the most skilled divisions. So for Merab to go out there and do that to these guys like that and still show that he's head and shoulders above the competition is still pretty damn impressive, if you ask me. I mean, look at the guys he's kind of taunted and made look silly in the cage. Hey, look at the picture right here. Like, he's styled on all these guys, man.
Yeah.
There's something to be said about that, so that's got to count for something. We were actually supposed to celebrate with some Funk Harbor, so that I got to hold him to that. We were supposed to take a shot because he doesn't drink, but he said this is the only thing I drink is Funk Harbor, so I'm going to hold you to that, Merab. We're going to have a shot together of some Funk Harbor rum and celebrate the good times, man. So hopefully he gets to enjoy his downtime this time and maybe make a return in June or July.
Okay. It's amazing to see the two of you interact because it's rare in life when you see two people who are in the same field, the same universe. You're not just two fighters, but you were in the same division for so long. You were friends, teammates. People are trying to pitch you against each other, and then see the genuine love and affection that he has for you and you have for him. Like there's this one picture that was passed around everywhere, you looking at him being interviewed, and then that was passed around of him. Look how happy he is for you, and that's the belt that ultimately he wanted, but just didn't want to take it from you or didn't want to fight you for it. This is love right here. This is like, people throw on brother. Like this feels like a brotherhood that you guys have.
Yeah, man. It's our team is so different. Like even with Iaquinta, like we're all so close, man. We've gone through so much with each other and had to do. We've seen the ups and downs. We've seen the insides, behind the scenes, and to go out there and to want to fight someone that you eat with, you break bread with, you met their family. That's just such a hard thing that I don't think people actually can put into perspective. But I think now it's starting to resonate with a lot more people. Like, yeah, you're not just fighting anybody. You're actually fighting someone you actually truly care about. And I think that's the difference, man. I truly believe Merab, if he does the right work, which is what he's been doing and continues to work hard and stays focused, he's going to break the bantamweight record, which is 3 title defenses. So I know it's myself and Cruz. We've got the highest between 3 and 2. And I think Merab has all the skill in the world to do that and break the record and make it even harder for anyone to reach again, So, yeah, man, I'm just proud and just happy to have a guy like that has helped me so much in my career, and I've been able to help him. And it's just nice to see how far I've gotten, to see that he's been able to replicate the same success and more, So long live the king, man. Long live the bantamweight king.
Feels like the only thing that could stop him right now is himself. Like
I said those exact words to him.
Really?
Those exact words after the fight in the back room. And I said, I think I think and know you will break the bantamweight record. And he's just like, wow. he's like, wow. Because he's not even thinking about this. But I'm thinking about it. It's like, yo, look what you just did. And I said, like, the only way you lose to anybody is if you get in your own way. I think the only person who could stop you is yourself. It's like, if you keep doing what you're doing, I think you're going to be the champ for a very, very long time. And he's willing to fight till he's 50, 60 years old. So
when you see the clip of him at the press conference, when someone says, like, are you the bantamweight GOAT or whatever, and then he's quickly saying you first, how does that make you feel?
It makes me feel like definitely humbled, but definitely makes me like, I understand because we've trained together a lot. So our training sessions, I know over the years have gotten a lot closer, and I think he just appreciates what I've been able to show him in terms of skill level. And like, I've seen Merab destroy people in the room. It's devious to watch, but I just think he appreciates a lot of the things that I bring to the table in the training room, and I think he just respects it a lot. So I don't like talking about training. I think we both know that we're both really good and we're both comfortable in our own skin. And like I said, I think Merab, with a win or two, I think will remove all doubt that he is truly the bantamweight GOAT. So. I know some people look at defenses, some people look at strength of schedule, how you're winning. So I think even in these next few wins, I think he'll get a couple of finishes, and I think that will put him over the hill, and there will be no more debate. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with being 1 or 2 or even 3. Like, between myself, Dominic Cruz, and Merab, like that's a pretty great group to be amongst. So I'm okay with any of that.
By the way, you talk about how close you guys are, tight-knit you are. When you saw Chris's announcement on Friday, Chris Weidman's announcement that he was retiring from the UFC, what were the emotions? And did you know that was coming?
I did. We spoke about it after his last fight, and he was at a crossroads, and he told me, like, the night before, that he was going to be making his announcement. And I was like, damn, you made the decision. And it's kind of rough because I kind of wanted him to do one more. And I kind of wanted to be a part of it a little bit more in depth. Obviously, we've all moved, so we're not all in New York anymore. but we still go back from time to time. But it would have been nice to be a part of that, to really make sure that everything was being done the right way. Because I feel like from our conversations that there were some things that he could have done a little bit more of, or could have done, that I think would have put him in a different spot in the last fight. That's my personal opinion. He might feel differently, but that's just how I felt based on what he was saying in terms of the prep and stuff like that. But the emotions, man, just super happy for him, man. To another kid from Long Island, not having much of anything, and look what he's done for himself, his family, set his legacy up, put his kids in a great position for the rest of their lives as well. So it's nice to see good things happen for really good people. He's a great guy, great family man. He was a great fighter. And he even said to me, it's like, yeah, I just don't feel like I'm that guy anymore. And it's hard to even say that because I'm still having great sessions in the room. But then when I go out there, I'm just not able to do what I'm doing. And that's not a comfortable feeling. And I don't want to be a guy who sticks around way too long. So I can respect that. And I think there's a lot of great things on the horizon for him, whether he decides to compete somewhere else or takes like some exhibition fights for fun or just do some color commentating or work the analyst desk. I think the sky's the limit for him, and there's going to be a lot of opportunities for him.
When you hear that and when you talk to him about it, do you start to think of yourself that day many years from now? Do you dread that? Do you get like, do you like, fuck, man, it comes for us all? Do you think about it like that?
Yeah, it's like the Grim Reaper, man. It's we've had conversations about this too, and he's like, dude, you got so much more in the tank. Don't look at me and compare it to where I'm at. You have a lot more fight left in you, and I know I do. I just know that sad day is going to eventually come, and that's what I'm dreading the most. And I'm going to miss this because he's right. This sport becomes your identity. The UFC becomes your identity, and to not have something to look forward to in the future is a scary thought of, well, what the hell am I going to do with myself now? Obviously I got my business, the rum company, my Funk Harbor, but fighting is what I truly am the most passionate about. And I like coaching. But yeah, it's father time comes for us all eventually. Right. So I'm just trying to make the most out of my run. And this is my only thing why I said this about O'Malley. I feel like at his age, you want to be active, man. You want to get in as much fights as you can, because when that door closes, that's it. Unless you just don't really like fighting as much as you have put out to the universe, right? But for me, I truly do love the sport, man. I don't like the weight cutting, but I like to compete, love competing. I would compete week after week if I could, just the same way I did with wrestling. It's just you physically can't because you get injuries, you get bumps and bruises, and I've had a lot of injuries and surgeries, but I want to try to hopefully get in 10 fights before it's all said and done. That would be nice. 10 more fights. If I could do that, I know that's shooting high, but if I could get something close to that, I'll be more than content. I want to get in the 20 win club. I think I'm at 19.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm at 19. So I don't know, man. I'm just trying to enjoy the ride, Ariel.
I get it.
I just want to enjoy the ride.
100%. Can I ask, just talking about, and we'll let you go in a moment. Just want to get your insight on this because it is the weight class that you resided in for quite some time. We go from someone who's ending their run to starting. Peyton Talbot. I'm sure it's not very fun for him right now. And we throw around, oh, he was fraud checked. He was overhyped. He's a bust. Look at him. Everyone, people were coming after me because I love talking to him and I love his fighting style and I love his demeanor and I think he's a lot of fun. He's unique. If you could offer him any type of wisdom or advice after what he went through on Saturday, what would it be?
I would have just tell him to keep it in perspective, man. I remember losing my first pro fight in the UFC. I was 4-0, 3 finishes in a row, and I lost to the one guy I should have smashed in Brian Caraway, and it was a great learning lesson. I think that's what he's got to take away from it. What did you learn from it? You weren't completely schooled, not until that last minute of the third round, but other than that, it was very competitive. He was able to escape and get back to his feet a few times. And even the same stuff I said on my podcast, like I don't think he loses much stock. And if anyone's saying he was fraud check, I'm like, I don't even think you understand what the phrase even means anymore. I think you're just saying that if someone loses, and that's pretty silly. I think the kid still has a lot of talent, and at the end of the day, it's got to be perspective, right? You got to look at the pros, got to look at the cons. What could you have done better? And at least he's not like he took a tough fight, a grappling style fight earlier in his career than some other people have done. They've taken only favorable matchups, so he tested himself, and I think that's only going to benefit him going forward. Like, yeah, you might not have the pretty shiny aura of having the undefeated record, but you're still that guy if you believe it. And those would be my words to him. We all take losses. And it's not losses, man. They're learning lessons. It just depends on how you handle it and how you bounce back from it.
You know what just occurred to me? There's been all this talk about Patricio Pitbull coming to the UFC. We'll see if it actually happens. What do you think about Aljamain Sterling, Patricio Pitbull?
I don't know. Dan Ige really wants that fight. I know he called dibs. I mean, I'm not opposed to it. I was kind of hoping to fight Arnold Allen because I don't know if he's fighting Yair Rodriguez anymore. And he's ranked ahead of me. I don't know where Patricio Pitbull would be in the rankings. That's the only thing. Yeah, I want to fight a lot, but I also want to fight fights that make sense. He is a big name, I guess. So there is that.
He was the champ at 145 there. He comes over. There's going to be a ton of buzz surrounding his debut if he signs. I don't even know if I actually think, and I told this to his team, I think he's overplayed his hand a little bit. You can't tell the UFC, I want to come no matter what. It's not about money. It's not about the UFC hears that and is like, all right, what do we need to negotiate with you for? They're gonna play hard to get now, and I think that's what's happening. They thought that they were gonna scoop him up right away. It's a business. You have to, you got to play the field a little bit. And so I don't know what happens, but if he does come over, and I'd love to see it, I thought that would be a cool sort of like dream fight, if you will. You were champ at 35 for so long. He was champ at 45 in Bellator. He's coming over as the champ. He never lost the belt at 40. You're at 45. I don't know. It's a fun one.
It is a fun one. I mean, I'm more than game to backpack him up and welcome that ass to the UFC because I will be coming for all their asses.
So you don't have your next one, right?
No, I don't have anything yet. I'm hoping to find out this week, man. It'll be nice to shake it up with Arnold Allen. I think he's a tough striker. And believe it or not, I'm interested in seeing what my striking game looks like at 45 with a guy like that because I don't have to force the wrestling or worry about being taken down as much. I mean, maybe he will be the one shooting on me. I mean, always have that, right? But I think it gives me an opportunity to work on my striking at this point in my career and see where my striking is actually at without the threat of having to get taken down. With Mosar, I was worried that he was going to try to take me down. I think he only got reversals. I don't even think he actually got takedowns on me. Like, now that I think about it. Yeah. So, and it's just so instinctual for me to get shoot for the takedown off of my strikes just because we drilled him so often that I wanted to stand up with him and keep the fight standing, and I didn't get to do that. We worked so much on the stand-up, and I think he said the same thing, and it ended up just being a big grappling fight. And I think with Arnold, now that I have the comfortability of knowing in my back of my mind, like he's not going to be looking to actively take me down, I think I could have some chance to show the world my striking. I think it would be a fun fight. I really do.
Have you guys talked to the UFC about this? Have you or your management expressed this to the UFC? Are they into it?
I don't know. I called him out, and then he said he was fighting, I think, Yair. I think he's the one that actually said that. But from what I hear, Yair's fighting somebody else now. So, I mean, hey, Arnold. Hey, Arnold. We're going to have a little fun with the call out.
Yes.
I think we're going to do something like the Hey, Arnold. I'll be Gerald. He'll be Arnold, obviously. And Dana could be like Helga.
I know Hey Arnold, but I lost you after that. I don't know Helga.
Helga's the one with the ponytails.
Oh, yes. Okay. Got it. All right.
She's like the mean person that really likes Arnold. Whatever. We'll figure out who Dana would be just to make it funny.
Yes. We need to get on that because I feel like he's not fighting in London. That's good news. I don't know about Mexico City, but
Arnold's not fighting in London.
Yeah, he's not. No.
Okay.
Realistically, when could you fight?
I was looking at March, man. I want to stay active.
That's soon.
I was That's soon. Yeah, I was hoping for March. I'm not in terrible shape right now. I think I would only need. I mean, how far away is March 8th? That's T-Mobile, right?
Yeah, but that's like a month and a half.
Is it?
Yeah.
That's like 6 weeks. I think realistically I could be in
With the shoulder?
prime shape in 6 weeks. Well, I just need 2 days off for this.
Oh, okay.
That's it. Yeah, and I can start training again. But I've been training with Merab for the majority of the time, other than when I went to El Salvador, right? So I think I'm in a really good spot. If not, then April in Miami. I'm like, what's up?
I would
Que lo
love that.
que, my people? Que lo que? What's up? Viva la raza? You know, do all that.
Yes. By the way, I'm being told Dana is Harold. But I don't know who Harold is, so I can't confirm nor deny.
Yeah, it could be Harold.
Okay. You think that's apropos?
I just think you just need someone from the UFC to be all these
Yeah.
different characters
Sure,
while
sure,
we're
sure.
making the, yeah.
There it is. Wow. You guys got that quick. Yay. This is not Aljo doing it, okay? We don't need to get Aljo in trouble here, all right?
Yeah, we're not calling him fat.
No. That's the last thing we're calling.
He's just the tough guy, you know?
Yeah. All right. Well, let's see. Always appreciate the insight. Weekly scraps. You've got all kinds of breakdowns on there. You did a great breakdown of this past weekend. Also saw one where you were ranking, I think, the best female fighters in the UFC, like your women's rankings. No, not that one, guys. Not that one. Not that one.
Top 5 baddies. That was Rebecca. She did that one.
Okay, that wasn't you, right? That was your fiance.
I mean, I did a little ranking at the end based on the list that Jake gave me, but for the most part, it was Rebecca doing the rankings. And I was just kind of like, yeah, that's not a bad pick. Yeah, that's not a bad pick.
Yeah. Listen, if the fiance says it, it's all good.
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah.
I'm just piggybacking, you know?
Right. So there you have it. So great content up there. Appreciate you doing this from out there in LA. Thank you very much, Aljo, and congrats to you and the team on another massive weekend for not only you guys, but Merab. Great to see John Wood in there with Ray Longo. It's all working so nicely. Love to see it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And if you want to get some more Funk Harbor, make sure you go to funkharborspirits.com. We are now a .com website.
Wow.
And we got the White Room coming in February 16th. So it's going to be here shortly.
The boys were saying they dusted off the other one. They're waiting for the white. They were saying this before.
Yeah. It's going to be good, man. It's going to be good.
All right. Looking forward to that. Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. There he is, the great Aljamain Sterling, the Funk Master himself. Of course, former UFC bantamweight champion and now current UFC featherweight contender. Tremendous insight. And his YouTube channel, tremendous as well. Weekly scraps. Just type that in there or his name and it will come up. I did get a message from Team Darren.
What did he say?
A family matter has come up and he needs to reschedule. So these things happen.
Yeah, of course.
We wish him the
Hope
best.
everything's good.
Hope everything is okay.
Team
But
Till was right there, though, I have to say.
what's up?
You said Team Darren. Team Till was right there for you.
Yeah, I feel like we refer to him as Darren.
Yeah.
Like I would say,
T2.
would you say Team Sterling or Team Aljo?
I don't know. It doesn't matter. They don't flow as well.
I think
TT,
given the
getting the double T, the alliteration.
Team Till?
Team Till.
I feel like we're missing the point here, you know.
Yeah,
Best
he's
to
got a
Darren,
family
hope
matter.
all
Best
is
to
well.
Darren. He'll be all right.
Yeah, best of the family.
Best to Darren.
I do appreciate them getting back to us. So sorry about that. You know, we don't like to promote and not be able to deliver. We did have 6 guests on yesterday's show, 2 today. Jack Della Maddalena on Wednesday. Robert Whitaker on Wednesday as well. Jeremy Stevens going to join us from Philadelphia, site of this weekend's BKFC Knucklemania 5 event at the Wells Fargo Center. What a weekend in Philadelphia, by the way. BKFC making its debut at Wells Fargo on Saturday. Eagles Commanders on Sunday. I believe many members of the team going to their first BKFC, yes?
Yes, sir.
What's the final head count?
5.
Final head count?
Me, Rick, Frank.
You, Rick, Frank, Jordan on vacation.
Jordan on vacay.
That's a permanent.
Andy couldn't be bothered.
And he couldn't be bothered.
You
Helwani
decided
never
You
got the
also
invite.
could not be bothered.
I wanted to get the invite.
I didn't get
Yeah.
the
But
invite.
is it little?
Several
But there's
times.
more members. Isn't Tracy coming too?
Yes.
Tracy and then another Yahoo employee is coming.
Shout out to Nicole.
Shout out to Nicole. Not only I've been meaning to do this.
I'm coming!
Yes, that too. What about our good friend Nicole, who's really the heart and soul of the team here?
Wait a minute. I was the heart.
No, absolutely not. Look at this. You can sit with us. She gifted me this after everyone got a copy, by the way. I was last on the list, but you know what?
It looks like you're using it a lot.
Yeah.
Not only have I used it, today, this morning, my wife and I were going through some of our favorite recipes. So you joke.
What's on the back?
What was it? Give us the,
Yeah,
the
what
number
was your
one.
favorite recipe?
But by the way,
You can't see it anymore.
I got 3 copies. This one's for the set. Okay.
We were hoping to
What was
find
your
out what
number
your
one,
favorite
though?
recipe
Give
is.
us
No,
your
no,
number
it wasn't
one.
here.
Give us your number one.
It's funny.
Oh, you weren't talking about your favorite recipes in the book because you haven't read it yet.
I literally just
First time you've opened this book.
there's a not this one. I got 3 copies.
He's
Why
got
would
I
you
know.
get copies?
I said, "What's your
He's-
favorite recipe?"
guys,
and you said,
just-
"No, not from this book."
Quiet down. He is about to give us his number
Come on.
one. That's
Here we go.
that's-
the
Number one.
matzo ball soup.
Alright.
The matzo ball soup.
Okay, got it.
Yes.
Got it.
Second after the matzo ball. That's obviously a given because you love matzo ball.
I'm a gigantic shishito pepper fan.
That's exactly what you
Those
just
are
turned
really
to.
good.
What?
I actually made the shishito peppers this Sunday.
Yes, I did a turn to it. I was on sweet balsamic
yeah,
Brussels
yeah,
sprouts, which
yeah.
I don't like.
Yeah.
I don't like Brussels sprouts. I'm not a.
What? They're like mini cabbages.
Frank's wife Tracy loves this
And-
book.
She's made-
I can
It's
only
all
imagine
gluten-free.
what Cole's
and
face
did I
is like
not
right now.
say to you, Frank, one time that I'm a huge short rib fan?
You did say that.
So I folded a couple of my favorites.
Oh,
The
really?
slow
I don't
cooker.
see the, I don't
them?
see the
taking
folds.
The slow
trick out of
cooker-
my wife's. You haven't seen that video. She literally is dog-eared like every page. I'm like,
That one actually, the short rib actually requires a microwave.
Can I be honest with you guys right now?
This is your
This-
first time
please.
opening it.
This no.
it's upside down.
This is like Fight Phil. You know Fight Phil? You've seen it. Have you seen it, GC?
Yeah, oh yeah. Watched it before the Islam fight.
You know the scene where he's cutting weight and he's watching the Food Network? This is what I feel like right now looking at this book because I don't know if
You're
you guys know
starving.
this, but I'm currently in the midst of a 24-hour water fast. It's me, Dana White, and that other guy, Gary Brecka. We're doing this
Perfect.
together.
Normally, you put like pictures of food on the cookbook, right?
We're holding ourselves accountable. This is the food right
Wow,
here.
Frank, you don't like Nicole on the cover, is what you're saying.
I've told her this.
No. So I'm saying
Wow.
all I'm drinking is water with sea salt for the next 24 hours, starving, and I'm looking at this short rib.
Is that why there's salt all over the desk?
Absolutely, yes. I missed the bottle. The pumpkin pancakes. In any event, if you want to learn more about this book and the great recipes in it, like patatas bravas and red wine mushroom cavatappi, and don't forget about the Nonna Tina's bolognese. Yeah, know yourself. What about the eggplant orchietti, which I did find out
That
was
was
her
really good.
dad's recipe. Where's the website? There should be a website here. Rick, you know the
I
website.
believe it's on Amazon, but let's double check.
It's called You Can Sit With Us. All proceeds. There it is.
Oh,
NicoleGartner.com. NicoleGartner.com. All proceeds go to a great cause. And
What is the cost?
Yeah, what is the cost?
you guys are ass. Here I am trying
Dude,
to.
you're
Well, you don't
promoting
say
it.
cost.
I don't. This is all happening off the cuff. I know that goes through a great cause. I just don't want to say the wrong one.
It goes directly to feeding America.
It goes directly to Feeding America. You
All
already
of
just
them
said
do.
that.
All the proceeds or a portion of the proceeds?
Proceeds. I didn't say all or
A portion. A portion.
That's in the biz.
Not all.
You can actually do a PDF download as well.
I got the PDF first, and then I got the.
Anyway.
With links to her Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok.
Anyway, if you want to support a member of the team, a valued member of the team, go to that website or go on Amazon and you can get it. And I love the name, by the way. You Can Sit With Us.
Only $10.
It reminds me of the scene from Forrest Gump where he's
Ah,
on the bus and everyone's like, you can't sit here. Remember? And Jenny.
Yeah.
so you
Nicole's
know,
sort of like our Jenny who says to the world, you can sit here.
you know it's actually a reference to a movie though.
Forrest Gump.
Mean Girls?
No.
Mean Girls.
Is it really?
Hey, you
I haven't
can't.
even seen that
You
movie.
can't sit with us.
Yes.
Saying you can't sit with us.
Cafeteria?
Yeah. She also has You Can Sit With Us, The Thankful Table, and it's all Thanksgiving recipes.
I believe part of your book club, right?
She's in the book club, yeah.
Did you guys read the cookbook as part of the book club?
No, God, no.
What are we reading this week?
Dark Matter meeting this Thursday.
Ooh.
Yeah, yeah.
Are you finished?
Oh, God, I've been done. I'm about to finish my first book of the year, Project Hail Mary.
Wait a second. So you're like ahead of the race?
Oh, way ahead of the race.
Is it fresh?
Yeah,
You can remember?
of course.
Do you take notes?
Yeah, jot a few things down here and there.
Highlighter?
Media on your way there.
Highlighter. I'm starting
Wow.
my next book, Onyx Storm, on Thursday. Yeah.
Onyx Storm.
Yeah, third in the Imperium series. Yeah.
Wow. Is it about the famed '90s hip hop group Onyx?
No, you say that, and then I told Rick about it, and he's like, "Is that a WNBA game? Onyx versus Storm?"
Wow. Hey, hey.
Fourth
Pizzy.
wing? No.
When did you show up?
He's
I
been here
heard
the entire
Dale
time.
couldn't do it, so I just came back.
Oh, okay. Nice to see you.
Well, that sounded a bit disingenuous, to be honest.
No, I
Nice to
just
see
mean like
you.
we've been shooting the shit here for 15 minutes. You could have
Pizza,
waited.
where are
You
you?
really
Not with
could have
the
popped in
cookbook,
when
yeah.
Till wasn't in.
How much of the proceeds go though? That's what I want.
That's right.
Have you gotten a copy of the cookbook yet, PT?
No, I don't get you. You see, this is the thing. You guys get perks that I don't get. The Action Bronson shoes, etc. Makes me very jealous.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yahoo
Listen,
Blanchardstown's going to be great.
it's kind of like, out of sight, out of mind around these parts. You're either here,
You know yourself.
Yeah. I did also want to mention, while we're plugging things, if I can, since, we have a hard out of 3:30, I can go another
Said
15.
the hard out was 3 o'clock. Just reminding you.
That was before Till left us at the altar. One second.
Shouldn't it actually be moved up at that point?
I wanted to give a shout out
He wanted to give a shout out.
my good friend, my
Good
new
friend.
best friend. Hopefully you guys were speaking while I was.
Yeah, we were repeating everything you were.
Non-stop.
You could have gone to the. Did you go to the security cam shot
No.
there? No. I guess.
What is it?
I
That's
guess-
that's.
I guess we
He's
only
getting
use
very annoyed with all of us.
I
isn't
guess
he?
we
It's
only
like-
use it for the watch parties.
I mean, it is.
It wouldn't have shown anything that you were.
Mm. Anyway, my good friend Matt Cardona, look what he gifted me. A box of all the toys, every single one.
Oh, that's sick.
Big rubber guys. We've got Animal here. Look at this.
I loved Animal and Hawk. I used to have them when I was a kid. but they weren't as
Magnum
good as them.
TA. We got that one. Look at this. Look at this.
Don't know who that is.
Look at this. Look at this.
The nasty
I don't know
Oh,
any of these people.
Yo, this is an incredible one. The British Bulldog and Dynamite Kid.
Oh, they're so
Boo.
different.
Okay? And Davy Boy
Boo,
Smith.
British Bulldog.
British Bulldog
Is that the same guy?
includes Matilda. No, they were tag team partners.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
It includes Matilda. You can see.
Who's Matilda?
You're all over the gap, Helwani.
There's Matilda right there. You see Matilda?
Oh, there. That's fun. Why would they? Oh, that's fun.
Wait. We're not done. We're not done. Matt Hardy, the Immortal.
God.
Wait. There's more. There's more. Look how many he sent me, this guy.
Wow.
Barbarian,
Sick.
legend.
Legend.
Okay.
GC.
Okay, this one's for you, PT. I'm saving it for
Oh,
you.
that's awesome.
Hawk?
Oh, that's sick.
Of the
Oh,
Road
sweet,
Warriors,
yeah.
aka Legion of Doom.
Legion of Doom. LOD, baby.
Brendan Johnson's favorite player, Jeff Hardy, player, wrestler, same
Thought it
thing.
was Papa Shango.
No, he did the Selly. He did the Selly. Okay.
Remember Papa Shango back in the
That
day,
was
making
Jeff
the
Hardy.
Warrior?
Formerly known as the Godfather. Of course, who could forget Sergeant Slaughter, one of
Oh,
the
I
dark
remember.
days in our country's history when he turned on America and sided with Saddam Hussein in Iraq. You remember that?
I do remember
Randomly,
that.
Sergeant Slaughter
That really
follows me on
happened.
Twitter.
Yes, during Desert Storm. Speaking of a great
That really
American hero, the one and only Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Whoa.
Oh!
There it is. And finally, last but not least, maybe the best one of all, the Macho Man. Ooh,
Oh yeah, he comes with the Slim Jim.
Oh yeah, Macho Man.
No Ultimate Warrior?
No, he had a deal, I guess. Kind of surprised that Macho Man didn't have a deal.
Did you ever get to meet him?
Macho, no, a little bit before my time.
Ooh, no. Sorry. That's right there.
Yeah. Come on, that's pretty good. You have to admit.
That was pretty good, actually, yeah.
Great.
You're
movie.
practicing all day for this.
No. I was just excited. This came in the mail in the post. They've got Andre the Giant here. They got Matt Cardona, of course, Axe and Smash, Marty Jannetty, Ric Flair. So I guess I didn't get all of them.
Shawn Michaels, former
Yeah.
teammate, was it?
Kicked
Yeah.
them through the barbershop window.
Could we ever forget? Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
It's one of the all-time great moments in the history of the biz. Kidding me?
I'd agree with you.
So anyway, thank you very much to Matt Cardona and the crew over at the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast. Also, these are called the Big Rubber Guys, and the company is Major Bendy's. MajorBendy's.com is where you can get these. If you're an old school LJN wrestling fan, I think they should get into MMA, to be honest. No one's really cornered the MMA toy market. Used to be round 5, if you recall.
I think
MMA
Tom McFarlane's
bobblehead?
releasing some.
Is he really?
Yeah, I saw it at the end of last year. I remember texting you and Rick about it.
Todd McFarlane is
McFarlane Toys, yeah.
I don't believe this. Todd McFarlane, MMA. UFC pose figure reveal at San Diego Comic-Con?
Told you about this, and you were like, "Oh, that's really cool, Frank. Let's talk about it."
Yo, these are actually kind of nice.
I was hoping they would already be on the desk.
Yeah. No.
You've been immortalized in doll form, haven't you, Helwani?
No. One
thought you
person
have.
took a round 5 and turned it into me. I forget. I think it was a Dana round 5 and turned it into me. Which is kind of
Wow.
a funny turn of events. But other than that, no. Oh, yeah. How about this? UFC.com even wrote about it. Okay, these are not bad.
You know,
They're a
everyone
little-
on the team could contribute.
They're a little skinny based on what I'm seeing here. What I liked about the round 5s. None of them are here, but they're behind me.
The robust.
Yeah, they just the the fists were big, the feet were big.
These are anatomically correct. What you have is more-
Nothing will look at this Aldo one with the scar, right? Like nothing will be better than this. Nothing. This is when the UFC was the UFC. This is when we were.
The Aspinall
country.
sack boy is pretty cool.
That's a custom, though.
Yeah, it's a 1 of 1.
Oh, this Patty Pimblett one looks pretty cool.
Does it?
It is very accurate.
All right, if you say so. PT, you gonna join us at 5 to speak to Connor Ben on the Ariel and Ade show on the Zone Boxing?
Yeah, I can't wait.
Hmm.
Who do I invoice when after I show?
Wow. Okay. All right. Excuse me for living.
Wait, here, just make sure you keep Rick away from him. That's the main
Yeah,
thing.
that's right. Rick's got a
I love you,
hotel
Mr.
let.
Ben.
I'll
He's
be
ready
there no
to
matter
go.
what.
He's gonna have to go in one of those tanks afterwards.
Yeah, that fight isn't even official yet, is it?
What does that mean?
You know,
Like the
just to,
deprivation he's talking
yeah,
about.
just to
Sensory
like
deprivation.
Oh,
cool off.
Reset,
You know?
reset.
Yeah. It's gonna
Going
be,
to the dark room like Yuri for 5 days.
it is not official just yet. They haven't officially announced it, but everyone seems to be implying late April, Hotspur Stadium. You know,
We going?
I think it sounds
Rick is adamant he will be there.
it sounds like we're going to a lot of places.
We need to go.
London, a lot
springtime.
of London action for the boys this
We're going to London March
2025.
22nd. We're going to WrestleMania in April. We're going to this the following week. What else are we doing? There's a lot going
Super
on.
Bowl.
Super Bowl, who could forget? Yes, there's a lot happening. There's a lot happening in all our lives. A lot happening on our YouTube channel. A lot of content. A lot on uncrowned.com. They're smashing it over there, led by our fearless leader, Shaheen Al-Shadi, the whole team all coming together as one. Tremendous content. Yes, there it is. Your home for combat sports, uncrowned.com. And I do want to let you know, ArielHelwani.substack.com is the place to send in all your questions for On the Nose. And tomorrow we'll go supersize On the Nose because last week I totally shortchanged you all. I didn't get to enough. I think I only got to 10, and I'm riddled with guilt when I feel like I shortchanged the public. So we'll go supersize. Get your questions in right now on anything and everything over at ArielHelwani.substack.com. Also, super chatters. Do we have super chatters, by the way? Before I go, I seem to. Am I crazy or was that last week?
Last week.
Yeah. Create like Mike. Welcome to the squad. Someone wrote Merab a message yesterday saying that he works a blue collar job and he's an inspiration. Someone named Aaron Johnson said Islam versus DDP is a fight that he wants to see. Clearly a troll, I would think. Why did you pay
Maybe just
$9.99
really
for
wants to
this?
see
Adam?
it.
You shouldn't have paid $9.99 for that. That wasn't worth it. What do you think?
Nah, silly.
Yeah.
This is
Win
like
or
when Usman was going up to fight Jan Blachowicz. We're good on these nonsense ones.
Oh, you remember that?
Yeah, I remember it.
Yes.
Just said it. It
Yes,
was
no.
stupid.
That's just that's like a thing you say. Jeez. You know, you're like, remember that?
I do, and unfortunately I do. I
What's
wish
the-
I didn't.
There's another
But Usman was calling out Canelo as well.
Yeah, Usman's gonna box Canelo and fight Jan. It was
Right.
it was the dumbest era.
Usman Canelo, Ronda Floyd.
I'm down for
Oh, yeah.
both of those.
Yeah.
Now,
Joe Rogan
That
said,
one
"Hey,
aged well. The
fuck him
Ronda
up."
I'll do 'em
Floyd
this
one
weekend.
aged real well.
She's on the cover of the ring.
She was on the
It was
cover.
on the
of the-
cover of the ring.
I think maybe the only MMA fighter ever to be on the
You
cover
think
of the ring.
Turkey's gonna bring back a Ronda cover? Maybe you can.
Someone needs to get a T-shirt of that one.
Oh, that's a GC.
Yes.
You would look a
Can you
man.
I'm
get-
already in it. I'm already on it. I'm already making it right now.
Is it on what's that site again?
Redbubble?
Redbubble?
No, but I mean, I can make this myself. Go down to my local mall.
GC, you need to start a t-shirt business, mate. You should have like a little shop going, all this kind of stuff
What
going.
would I sell, man? Ronda Rousey ring magazine cover T-shirts.
Exactly. This is
Hey,
it.
listen.
For 4 people.
There's been some talk of an uncrowned full violence collabo.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Conquered MMA,
Ooh.
boxing neck. Is it an uncrowned full violence collabo?
Well, what are you implying by saying that?
Helwani, full violence.
I am uncrowned, and uncrowned is me. All right. I try to include everyone. I try to bring everyone along for the
Well,
ride. Have I not established this already? So yes, it is uncrowned.
Just hurts when you say it out loud.
Yeah.
But is it Ariel
What's it?
parentheses uncrowned or uncrowned parentheses Ariel?
No, it's just Helwani, but I am,
Helwani, it's Helwani X full violence.
I'm so invested in what we're doing. I mean, did I tell you guys that
I'll get it.
Matilda was involved
You
in
did.
this? Look,
You did, yeah.
That's so awesome.
legend. I'm gonna put her right here. Dun dun dun.
On
dun,
the bus?
Dun dun dun
moving
dun
the
dun 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 dun.
Let me buy the Jeff Hardy off you.
How much?
$20.
Swanton bomb.
Yeah, and those are really
You know what
good,
that
though.
What do they
like-
smell like?
It smells like toxic paint.
Okay.
Let's
That is not
I know,
what
like,
led them
let's
to you.
backtrack off the toxic.
Every time you bring it up, you're like, it's cancerous.
Yes.
Oh my God.
My favorite.
Yeah. Look at this.
Matt is
Do
regret.
you think our friends at DAZN would mind if this is front and center to start the Ade show today?
Do
Why
it.
not?
Just to put only wrestling toys.
Why not?
Let's talk boxing, guys.
Yeah. All right, now let's
The
talk
chat will
about
love that.
let's talk about a fake sport. Is this your sign that the show's over? You putting the chair down?
Oh, wow.
It's
Nice
music,
work, Frank.
Frank.
This is his way of saying I've had enough. Or maybe Frank's way of saying I've had enough.
Look, man, I'm just anticipating when we should push the button.
You know what? Can I just say something? I like the fact that you took initiative.
Yeah. Someone's got to. Kind of like when I sent the text about McFarlane doing
Clearly
UFC
we
tour.
were floundering. Nothing was happening.
Wow.
Time to go.
He's making sure we hit the 330 hard out.
We're going to make it with a couple minutes to spare, it seems. And that's very exciting. Now, how am I going to survive 24 hours with just water?
It's
Wait.
salt water.
What's going on with that? When did that happen?
His trainer.
My trainer-
His physio.
My physio told me said my HRV is extremely low. My HRV was at 29.
What's a
He said my
HRV?
body hates me. It's heart rate variability.
Variability.
He says I'm at a 29. He says I should be at a 70.
Oh, mate.
By the way, he says that it's in large part due to stress. Guess what's stressing me out right now?
The song?
Frank.
No, not
tell.
eating anything. That's stressing me out. How is this going to help me?
I thought HRV was
You
some
gotta
sort of
trust the process.
vehicle.
Yeah.
Trust the process.
Nah, CRV.
By the way, it sounded like you just said I had HIV there for a second.
Things
did
get
say-
lost in the mix. You
Yeah.
know?
HRV.
When are we all doing team colonoscopies?
This year.
I have to say, this is the most bizarre ending to a show that I.
Ariel's been on the colonoscopy train for a few years now.
4 months, it's happening. In the
All
next
right,
four-
great.
Are you getting one too?
We're all doing
I'm
it.
a little
Oh,
too
there.
young.
In the
A little
tank.
too
We're
young.
doing it in the tank. Thank you, Aljo. Who else was on the show? I forget.
Anthony Smith.
Anthony Smith. Back on Wednesday, same time and place. This is Ibis. So we're out of here.